Just kidding. Get it? I'm the last man. Hi, guys.
We're gonna get killed by the plague.
Nope. That's a what if.
We should have started our Infinity War review with half of us gone.
Oh, that's true. That would have been good. That's hindsight.
Pretty funny.
Well, we weren't doing it in video, so no one would have gotten it. It just would have been two people not talking.
Yeah. Very awkwardly sitting. Whoever flipped the coin is like, okay, you're dead. You're dead.
Well, this bit won't read for you audio listeners, but hey, it's going to be really funny for you guys watching the video. We are
just 5 seconds of silence. What happened to my?
Shouldn't someone be talking right now? What's going
we died.
on here?
And the answer is no. Okay, yeah. So we're talking about Why the Last Man. If you guys couldn't get that from our little fun bit there, we have fun here on the Fake Nerd Podcast.
I was about to say, Brian, speak for yourself. I'm down the inside.
Oh man!
No, I'm not.
Oh no! Starting this
That's
episode.
That's for off-air stuff.
Starting this episode strong, Ben. Before we get into our week, though, which actually 2 weeks, we're back with 2 weeks. Hey, sorry, 2 of us were out of town.
Hey, vacations are really nice.
Yeah. Before we get into our weeks, though, we have a lot of links in the description because you know what? We don't just do one show, guys. We do a lot of shows. We do that for you.
It's true.
We do that for you.
Only you.
Oh, we do it mostly for us. Anyway, so the links in the description. Ryan, you did not have a downright annoyed this week, but you did last week.
It's true. Can you remind me of the movie?
Grand Budapest?
Yeah, the Grand Budapest Hotel. That movie is so good, you guys.
Good.
I think it's Wes Anderson's best movie. I like a lot of his movies, and I think that one just has so many layers to it. It's just gorgeous inside and out. Ray Fiennes is so good in it. I like it a lot. Great 10 out of 10. Love that movie so much.
I haven't seen that movie in a while. I love it.
Definitely as an adult, I love that movie so much more. It's so good.
I also have Kaiju Ramen in the description again, but this time because the physical copy is available on their website, kaijuramen.com, where you can get the physical copy of issue 3. Look at that. There's Godzuki.
Look at him.
Uh,
What is it, noodles? Are those nudes?
yeah,
it's
he's at a
ramen.
ramen bar.
And there's Papa Godzilla, voiced by Frank Welker.
Papa G.
Anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of really cool articles. Obviously, I'm plugging it because mine is in here. I'm the centerfold. I'm pretty excited about this.
Nice.
Look, it's I can't believe they let me do this, and I'm really grateful for it. So thank you, Kaiju Ramen.
Woo, woo, woo.
That's awesome, dude.
And Ben, you have an Old School Gamer magazine article that you just put up today.
Yep, just put it up today. So I am, as you guys know, I'm playing through all the Metroid games. I am on the last one, Metroid Fusion. And years ago, back when I was a kid, when the game came out in 2002, I had the game, couldn't beat it. I had no idea what to do, no idea where to go. I was a very patient kid. All the cutscenes happened. I skipped through it, just want to get to the gameplay. And then as I'm replaying it now, I realize, holy shit, this game is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that article is about going back to something old because what was old is new again.
Yeah, there you go.
That's nostalgia.
So all those are linked below, as well as a bunch of shows that we did, as I probably shouldn't have led in from the we do shows to things that aren't shows, but whatever. We're here now. There's a couple of Fake Nerds watches in the description below. There's one episode of What If for episode 4 of What If. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
That's
true.
true.
I think so.
That's true.
So that's in the description. You can check out what we thought about that. We just recorded an episode 4, 5, and 6, so stay tuned for that coming. There is also an episode of Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 4, in the description with me and I think Just Cookie. And just a little podcast, just so you guys know, Fake Nerds Watch is...
Isn't it Episode 5?
Episode 5 is also in the description. Okay. So there's 4 and 5 in the description. Ooh. Episode 5 is in the description, and that one's with Downright Nerdy's Michael Carls and Just a Little Podcast Cookie. We don't just talk about episode 5 of Lower Decks. We also talk about Star Trek Day. Star Trek Day is not in the news this week because I did an hour-long podcast with the two of them talking about all the big reveals from Star Trek Day. So check that out. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
We got to rag on Picard a bit, which is always kind of nice. It's cathartic, is what it is.
Yeah.
There is a Basement Arcade pause menu. There's
Yes,
two
there is.
Basement Arcades pause menus.
There is. The first one is, or the older one is you, Brandon, myself, and Ryan. We talked about the PS5 showcase that happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Or a week
I think
ago.
by now.
It's an eternity in my mind.
Time is weird. Yeah.
Time's
so
delayed.
yeah, so when that happened, the three of us sat down. We talked about all the big trailers that came out for that which was really awesome. And the episode I did with Ali Sai from Australia is up right now. That was a good conversation, even though I was really trying hard to not fall asleep because we were recording that at 2:00 in the morning. For me,
1 second. Sparks, because you weren't there, you can only choose one. What was your most excited thing about the PlayStation Showcase? Only one. A single one.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
How do you not?
That's pretty good.
Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
no, that's pretty much the episode.
And then, Sparks, before you went on vacation, we found the time to do Animation Station for Adventure Time Distant Lands Obsidian, the second special.
Yes.
Do you want to say anything about it?
No.
The episode speaks for itself.
Dude, that's the most David Lynch thing you've ever said.
Wasn't David Lynch who directed Cats, like the first one?
No.
What?
No.
No.
I remember there's one of you guys were talking about the guy who directed the first Cats thing.
He
And
directed
they're like,
Dune.
yeah, but then they're like, hey, what's it about? It's like, hey, it's about cats. And then they just...
That's a Lindsay Ellis video essay I watched where I learned that.
Never mind.
No, but it wasn't David Lynch. That's Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
I
the
get them
director.
confused all the time, so I get it, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Jesus. Sorry, I got to recenter myself. That really threw me.
You got a great shirt right now, Brandon. Whoever
I
got that
do.
for you, man, just like
I do.
great taste.
I may be talking about this in our weeks.
Oh,
Mm.
snap.
Brandon, do you want to say anything about Obsidian?
I do.
Great. Go
Uh,
ahead.
I really enjoyed that conversation with you. I was in pretty bad lighting, so I had the episode play on my parents' 80-inch TV while I was talking about it. You can't see the TV in the screen, but the light is sharing on my face. I love that episode, so I was really excited that we finally got to sit down and talk about it, because I think you and I were very much of the same opinion, and we just had a grand old time.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. That's all the descriptions. The description links. Check those guys out. I have one more. Shoot. Conversation. There's a conversation in the link that I did with Christian Renteria. That was last week. Next week, because I've moved conversation to every other week. Next week will be Travis Alexander from the Kaiju Weekly podcast. Christian came on conversation. Had a really awesome talk with him. There are episodes where conversation really just clicks, and I think that's one of them. So
It was a good episode.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm a lie. I lied. I hated it.
Oh no!
Well,
Didn't
I'm not
David
lying.
Lynch do the last conversation?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a prequel.
Yeah.
Actually, the guy doing a podcast for long as he did it by himself is a real feat upon itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's really cool.
All right. That's all the description links. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, get all sorts of cool stuff. All right. Who wants to go first of the week?
I want to hear about Sparks' week because he hasn't been here, and I've been with the cats the entire time.
Yeah, it's really covering 2 weeks, which thank God for that, because I don't have a lot of content to share.
Mhm.
I was on vacation in Disney World this last week, which was both very fun and incredibly exhausting. I don't want to spend too much time gloating about being on vacation.
No, I just want to hear the cool things you did. Like, people deserve vacations, my guy.
Mickey and Minnie's Railway is a new favorite ride of mine.
Mhm.
So I can't wait for that to open in 2023
That's coming. Yeah, that's coming here.
in Disneyland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just real quick, like what is that? Like what's cool about it?
So those new modern Mickey Mouse shorts, you're taken into that. What's really incredible about it is the way, God, I don't want to spoil this, the way that they take you into the ride. what brings you into the ride. I don't want to say what that is.
Is it like a Peter Pan ride, just like extremely like up-res, or
it's much closer to Rise of the Resistance.
I was going to ask you.
I was
going to ask you that.
Like the level. Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
Because you said how they bring you into a ride very a different way. Rise of the Resistance, you go into the ride very originally. I really liked.
This is also the third after Rise of the Resistance attraction to use the same free moving vehicle system.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
And the next one will be the Ratatouille ride that's about to open in Epcot is also using that system.
Wow.
That doesn't mean that the ride like functions exactly the same. It's just the way the vehicles move, which means they're trackless.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it allows for them to do a lot of cool things. I don't mind sharing this detail. There's this part, I rode that 3 times. There's this part where you're in a factory and then it turns into the forest. And when it turns into the forest, I noticed the 3rd time that the buildings that are square like this, they have projections on them to make them look like the animation style, like you're living in it.
Mm-hmm.
They fold like kites down into the trees. So it goes like this, and then it's a tree, and I'm like, wow, I can't, like, I watched it happen, and I was still amazed. It's got a lot of incredible technology around it. That's definitely like one of my top tier things. Their Haunted Mansion is a little better than ours. I hate to say it.
No, I kind of agree with you on that one. I love our Haunted Mansion, but the little extra stuff that they have, and just the queue for a Haunted Mansion, their Haunted Mansion, 10 times better than the queue that we had. That's
the one based on the Eddie Murphy movie, right?
No,
it's based off the Guillermo del Toro one.
Oh, the one that never came out.
Yeah.
In general, like, my take on Disney World is that, many of the things are allowed to take advantage of the fact that they have the space to build bigger. The Hollywood Tower Hotel is a great example because they still have Tower of Terror, and the whole Tower Hotel is built more to scale. And your queue is like actually traveling up the drive to the hotel and all that kind of stuff. Also, it's very.
The differences from when we had Tower of Terror before it became Guardians of the Galaxy to Florida's is, to me, staggering, because that Florida's version was so. I enjoyed that one a lot more than I did ours. I loved ours, don't get me wrong, but that one, when I first rode that, was like, damn, that's the Tower of Terror.
Well, again, like, it's all a space thing. Yeah. So they have the space to make it so that when you're going on their Tower of Terror, there's a part where it takes you through the hotel. Like, your thing disengages from the elevator and goes into the Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. And then you get to the up-down bit, whereas ours was just like the up-down bit. That being said, I was also surprised at how little there is to each individual park of Disney World. Mm-hmm. To the point where I was like, oh, this is only hard to do in a day because it's so spread out, not because there's so much to do. Mm-hmm. And it's genuinely surprising to me how much people would have to fill a day in a park before a lot of the newer things have opened up. But I still enjoyed my time. It was nice to get to experience things. I went to Animal Kingdom, which has been like childhood dream ever since it opened. Mm-hmm. I probably should have watched Avatar again at some point. I found Pandora disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe it's a lack of familiarity with the movie. Maybe it's the fact that we couldn't be there at night because it closed at sunset. So
that's what it's like.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to see what it looks like at night. But that being said, I still kind of wasn't that impressed in the daytime, to be honest. Like, it's cool that they built it, but I still kind of go, and honestly, maybe it's because Batu existed before I got there. Mm-hmm. Like, before I experienced that, I experienced Batu, and I'm like, Batu makes me feel like I'm there. Pandora still just is like, hey, here's the structures of Pandora, but like, I don't feel like I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I got that.
Did you like Flight of Passage at least?
I did like Flight of the Passage.
Okay.
That's their Avatar ride?
Yes.
Did you ride a dragon?
Yes, the Banshee. What's cool about that ride system, I'm sure Ben will attest to it as well, is that you are on a thing that is very structured, similar to the way, though not quite Venice Forward, the way the Tron ride operates. So you're sitting on it kind of like a bike, and then when you're riding on the Banshee, you can hear it breathing, but you can also feel something pushing on your legs to simulate the breathing of the Banshee.
That's pretty cool.
I'll bet the breathing.
It's pretty impressive. There's a really cool creature that wasn't in the movie, at least I can't recall, that lives in the ocean that I was like, well, that's pretty darn neat. That makes me want to see it in another Avatar movie. Maybe not so much that I would want an Avatar movie if there wasn't going to be one, but now that I know there will be one, I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see that creature.
Oh, there's not one, baby. There's 4.
But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I kind of test because when I went a few years ago to Animal Kingdom, right after or a while after Pandora opened, we were only there during the day. We didn't get to experience Pandora at night, and we were there in the winter, so it closed when the park was, it was well after dark. But the way we had our day planned out, we were only there for the first half of the day, and then we had to go somewhere else for the evening because we had something else planned.
Yeah, I dedicated a lot of time to Animal Kingdom because it was a passion of mine to go there. And I think if you want to see the animals, which I did, Animal Kingdom totally lives up to. It's a park that centers around the Lion King. Like, I'm not going to be disappointed. Saw Festival of the Lion King, front row seats. That was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
My mom had to be in a wheelchair part of the time, so. Oh no, it was all preventative. Like, my mom has arthritis in her legs, so we were like, this is a lot of days at a time when my mom hasn't done a lot of walking around for about 1.5 years because of the pandemic. So we were like, hey, maybe if you're kind of feeling tired at the end of a day, let's just get in a wheelchair. I got the rental, no problem. The wheelchair rentals are very easy to do. So that just made it easier, made it so that she had a better time rather than pushing herself, which was really important. Another friend of ours who was on the trip had also been recently recovering from a stroke. So he and my mom were kind of switching between the wheelchair for most of the trip, which is good that we did it because honestly, it would have been much harder for both of them without it.
Yeah. All in all, you all had fun?
All in all, we all had fun. Trying to think if there's anything else that's a standout to me. So there's a ride in Animal Kingdom called Dinosaur.
Yes!
The 2000 movie Dinosaur.
Thank you, Sparks.
Which
I was going to ask you about
that. They never took it down.
That's one of my favorite rides in Animal Kingdom. I love that ride.
So that ride is Indiana Jones, and I'm not just saying that to be pedantic. It's literally the track of Indiana Jones with the same vehicle.
That's funny.
Dinosaurs.
But instead it's dinosaurs. And I gotta say I like it a little better.
That's illegal.
Hey, Sparks. That is not our dino.
No, that's
not
our
in a
dino.
museum.
That's a line from Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yours more important.
No, I was going to say when Jeff first took me to Disney World back in 2012, we went to Animal Kingdom and we rode Dinosaur 5 times that day. That ride and Expedition Everest were our 2 favorites. I mean, obviously the Kilimanjaro Safari was amazing. We did that first thing in the morning, but Everest and Dinosaur were the ones we just kept going back and forth, just constantly going on those rides. We loved those rides.
Yeah, those were both good. I was really happy we got to do Dinosaur because it looked like we weren't going to. It was down for most of the day.
Yeah.
And then in the last few hours, it opened up, and we were like, yes.
I remember that movie. I remember that movie being decent.
I put on the first 5 minutes to just remind everybody else in my group what it was. Yeah. Because I was like, no, you all definitely saw part of it, at least at some point. Uh-huh. And so we put it on. And the dinosaur animation actually holds up surprisingly well. But the lemur animation...
Not so much.
Oh, no.
No.
Well,
so there's another funny bit in Epcot that I want to bring up, which is that we went on a ride that had just reopened after the pandemic called Living with the Land, which is a cool, environmentally, this is what we do to take care of our vegetables and how we grow the vegetables and fruit we use at the parks, and I'm like, well, that's really neat, and like you're actually taken through the greenhouses and everything, and like it's a cool think about our environment kind of thing, which is great. But I was sitting on it and I'm like, man, taking a kid on this, they would be so upset. It's like a boat ride like Pirates of the Caribbean through their greenhouses and like projections and things about doing it, which was totally fine for a 5-minute wait. And we were like, great, we'll do this, and we just wanted to experience it. It was great. But there's this part where you go through a greenhouse, and then there's a different section where it's focused on a whole other thing. And then you come out into a second greenhouse, and I'm like, oh, I could just see the kid right now just going, are you kidding me? A second greenhouse?
Vegetables again? I want candy.
That's
how I feel as an adult on It's a Small World, because you think they're gonna stop saying it and they just don't.
There were a chunk of things that we just didn't even bother to do because we either knew that they weren't as good as ours here, or we have them here and we just weren't that interested. Those were things like Pirates and It's a Small World. We just didn't make the time for them. We decided to prioritize other things.
You didn't miss much. Small World's better.
That's I heard the same thing about Pirates, and I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. Trying to think if there's anything else of major note. I really like Hollywood Studios. It's just shocking to me how spread out it is, in the sense of like, there's not a lot here, but it takes me 35 minutes to get from here to there.
Did
just
you go
over and over again.
Did you go to Toy Story Land? Because that was under construction when I went.
Yes, we did. We went to
How
Toy
was
Story
the
Land.
Slinky Dog ride? Because I've only heard good things about it.
I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's worth the wait that it usually has, but I do think it's definitely worth doing. It's a solid ride. I wish we could have gone back and done it at night. That just didn't work out in our trip because of the way things happened.
Yeah.
Because I feel like going about with Toy Story Land with the Christmas lights on and everything would have been a good experience. But I think Toy Story Land is pretty cool. It was at a slight disadvantage because, like, outside of Slinky Dog Dash, its only other rides are like a little spinny one that I didn't feel like no one in our group really felt like doing, and then Midway Mania, which is just a clone of what we have here.
Yeah.
So it didn't get a ton of my attention, but I did enjoy it.
That's good. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Definitely for me, like, the show stealers were Tower of Terror and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We also did get to do Rise of the Resistance, and that's great. My mom got to do it for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she loved it. Rise of the Resistance, still super solid ride.
Did you like a Rock and Roller Coaster, or did you not go on that one?
We did not get to go on that one because when we planned to go on it, it was down. And the other thing was, only two of us wanted to ride it, and I was one of them.
Okay.
And so, like, it was hard to coordinate out in our day, so it just ended up not happening.
Okay.
Something to do next time. I will inevitably go again. Disney World, a good experience. I'm glad that I finally went.
But what I hear is West Coast still best coast.
West Coast still best coast. I can't lie.
Don't lie. Don't deny.
The thing is, if you are going for, like, if you are doing a Disney vacation for, like, purposefully, you're like, I want a week and a half of Disney stuff, then go to Disney World, because there's way more for you to do and, like, different experiences for you to have that you can spread out across that time and have breaks in between and do all that kind of stuff. You should never do a week and a half at Disneyland and California Adventure. That is a waste of your time. But if you are only going for, like, 2 to 3 days, go to Disneyland and California Adventure. Like, that is the better use of your money and your time.
If I may interject for a hot second, East Coast is better for Universal because they have 2 parks and they're very easy to get to, whereas ours, I mean, it's fun, but once again, if you're only here for a short time, do our Universal for a day, and you have a vacations planned, go to Universal over in Florida. Like a longer vacation.
Yeah, what he said, I
can't speak to that, but it makes sense. Like, they have the more spread out space to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I wasn't doing that, which was a lot of my week and a lot of my time, I admit, I did watch What If, but we talked about that somewhere else. So Megan and I watched a couple episodes of Behind the Attraction in anticipation of our trip. That's a great series on Disney Plus. Y'all should watch it. I know you like it enough. You like Disney enough that you would get a kick out of like how they design Jungle Cruise, how they design Haunted Mansion, et cetera, et cetera.
I've only seen the first episode, but I really liked it.
It was real good. The Haunted Mansion one is the next episode, and I highly recommend it. You learn some really neat stuff.
Cool.
A lot of how like what a miracle it is that the Haunted Mansion works the way it does, because for years they couldn't decide what the tone of the Haunted Mansion was supposed to be. Was it supposed to be fun or scary? Like fun spooky or scary spooky?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they could not, right? And they basically ended up with yes, but the balance of it happened to land perfectly. And there's definitely a lot of versions you can see where it would not have.
Yeah.
It's okay, Mag. You did not miss a lot. I mostly talked about Disney World.
Mac talking about how his alert betrayed him.
Yeah. I watched not this previous week's episode of Only Murders in the Building, but the week before, because I haven't been able to catch up yet. But that is a hot show, guys. I really recommend it.
I keep hearing about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super good. I also watched a bunch of Mickey Mouse cartoons. Go figure. Those are really good, guys. I think that animation's incredible, but I've been a fan of those forever, so I just watched a bunch of them.
Uh-huh.
I read some Venom before I left.
Venom.
Still reading Venom. And then I'm probably going to be reading a bunch of other things in Marvel. But not right now, because I'm reading Dune, baby.
Oh, the Bene Gesserit, I had other words. I forgot about
House of Trees.
That is
Constantly,
coming up.
I was reading it on the airplane. And
Muad'Dib.
Megan was just watching me like every couple of pages have to go, what the
Bro,
in the index, what is this?
So I'm just gonna jump in real quick because it's part of my week 2. I'm listening to the audiobook, and it is actually like the full audiobook, like it's 20 hours, like it's a long ass thing. I'm up to chapter 9. I am so into it, you guys, especially because the audiobook rips, man. The voices are so good, the atmosphere, the dad steps, they add music and sound. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm so into these characters. Like I cannot wait to see this movie. I am so hyped. Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's all.
I'm really enjoying reading the book. But I definitely, like, Megan was like, is that another word you don't know what it? I'm like, he's making shit up. I don't know what this is.
It's our universe.
I wasn't going to talk about it, but I picked it back up. I got about halfway done at the end of last year, and I was like, I got time. Now I don't, so I really got to finish that.
It is an audiobook, but I find it to be a very easy read. Listen,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a lot better hearing people say Ben Gesserit than reading and going like, what the hell?
I think
exactly.
So a friend of ours who was on the trip, his name is Scott, friend of the podcast.
Hi, Scott.
He saw that I was reading it. He's like, man, I could never. I feel for you because I can't read Dune. And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, I keep like the second I get to the second chapter, I always hit a wall and I just can't do it. And I was like, that's really fair. I think if you can't get over the hump of the second chapter, Dune is just a really hard book to read. And it's because it throws a whole lot of like characters you're not going to interact with for another 140 pages and concepts that aren't going to come into play for those 140 pages and world setup and words you don't know because he's making it all up. Chapter 2 throws a lot of that at you. And that is the hump. That is the hump to get over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's dense. It's dense. It's a lot. Yeah.
And then after chapter 2, I feel like it starts to settle and ease you back in. But chapter 2 is like a big hard punch. Like get this shit in your head, and you're like,
that is such a good analogy because I remember reading it, getting to the second chapter because I was trying to read one a night, and so I got to the second chapter. And I'm like, oh man, I really got to read this for the show though.
Mm-hmm.
But it became a quick read after I was done with it.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of important world setup, but that chapter specifically is very thick with many words you have to go back to the book, back in the book and look up if you're not familiar with them, and a lot of like, this is how the world works, and you're like, I guess so. That's what you're saying. And then everything after that is a little more like slow and going like here's Paul. Here's what Paul's doing with his dad. And he's like, okay, I get all these pieces. Yeah, we'll talk about that more when we talk about the book club. But I thought when he brought that up to me, I'm like, that's a pretty fair point. Chapter 2 is hard. Yeah. Chapter 2 is a hard chapter to get through, and I think if the whole book was like that, I'd find it really stuffy. But it's not. So the last thing I want to talk about is I made some time because I really wanted to watch it. I wanted to give it a chance before it was off HBO Max. I watched Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman, which is the future noir movie. And I will say it's all right. It's not bad. It's pretty close to good. But it's not quite there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish it was. But the most cool thing about it, I think, is its world. And I think if you watch a lot of old noir, and I mean, like, if you've watched a lot of old noir films, you know exactly what movie it is. You know exactly what it's doing, why it's doing it. And it is made in the style of those old films by a female director, which is awesome.
Lisa Joy, creator of Westworld, co-creator of Westworld.
Yeah. And if you can get on board with that vibe, even though the plot is in most ways, I will say, predictable, then you can have a good time with it because the world is interesting enough.
Go ahead.
But I definitely I wish it had the punch that I could say, man, great movie.
I also watched that because it was leaving HBO Max and I wanted to give it a shot. I thought it was pretty solid, all in all. Although I will not disagree with anything Spark said.
How much time do I have to reminisce?
It's gone tomorrow.
It's gone tomorrow.
Sorry, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time.
I think Hugh Jackman's pretty. I think Hugh Jackman's pretty good in the role, and I honestly props on the ending. I thought it was pretty bold of them to end it that way.
I thought so too, except for the very, very last part of the ending. I didn't like.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I wish they'd left that part out. The biggest problem for me was that I found, which is something I don't normally feel when I watch noir movies, is I found the antagonist, the ultimate bad guy for the movie, I found that character lacking in a pretty major way of having any kind of real presence in the film. And it's also partially that I find that problem a lot with that actor, but it's also just the problem of how they were used in this movie. And I was like, man, this is not a good noir antagonist. I have seen much better. And they drag down the film because in the second half they become pretty important. And they really bring it down a notch for me.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I watched it though.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like I still think I was trepidatious about doing it because I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score and I saw a lot of the reviews. That's my blinkers.
She heard your voice.
I've been trepidatious about it because I saw a lot of really bad reviews and I was like, oh man, that's a real bummer because I was really hopeful for that it was going to hit that noir punch. And I'm like, no, it does. It does. I think that the reviews are maybe like a good 30% too harsh on it.
Yeah.
I think it's much more in line of like what it's going for. I think it's executing very well most of the time, and the world is really cool. The concept of this world that is slowly drowning and what that's doing to people, and I wish we could have explored that world more, but that's not what you do in a noir film. And it committed to that noir bit, and it did it well. So I'm like, it hit a lot of what I needed it to.
Yeah, there's a lot of narration from Mag just put a comment on it, but there's a lot of narration from Hugh Jackman talking about the war. Once the war hit, blah blah blah. But we never know what that war is. We don't get any explanation of what the outcome of that war essentially was. And I thought that was really cool, kind of allowing the movie to live in the world it built without exploring it. Although I would have liked to have explored it more.
Really, the only important part is like the concept of the privileged and the underprivileged fighting on different sides of that war, of who would end up drowning and who wouldn't. And that's kind of all you need. It's really solid class warfare and the implications of a draft. But it's also just a good setup for a world of noir storytelling, because it's a world where everyone's kind of embraced the fact that they're all doomed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you don't get that kind of storytelling a lot. You'll get characters in noir stories that are like, well, I'm doomed, and that's how they behave. They know that they're on a set path of eventual death. But the whole world behaving that way is a really prime territory for a noir story, and I really like that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's me.
Anyone else?
I'll go. I didn't. Oh yeah, I didn't do a lot. I play Fortnite. I play Marvel's Avengers all the time because those are my comfort games. I did actually read a lot of comics. This is gonna sound like a lot, but it's not actually as much as it is. I read Marvel Zombies in anticipation for that episode, which we will talk about. I'll talk about the comic and the episode on our Fake Nerds Watch episode. I'm still on my Ghost Rider kick. I'm slowly working on that video. I'm finally to a point where I bought a new camera, and I think I got the green screen set up right where I just got to shoot it and then like edit it, and like we're good to go. But I bought Ghost Rider comics. I'm going to start officially collecting Ghost Rider. I have like most of, I think I have all of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, maybe some specials or something, but I have his original run. And this is like the first character that I've like fallen in love with in like a long time, where I'm like, yo, I want that. I want to own it. So I have like 11 issues of Danny Ketch's run. I don't have number 1 because that's a little more expensive. I almost bought at Frankensons last week, the first appearance of the original Ghost Rider, the Phantom Rider. It was $75 and it was really good condition, but I'm like, I don't need to do that. But yeah, Ghost Rider's cool, guys. I'm going to talk about it probably the rest of my life. I read a lot of... Oh yeah, it's.
I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that you're doing that.
I'm glad. I read a lot of Chris Claremont's X-Men. I've read some of his stuff before, but thanks to Marvel Unlimited, they actually have a really great thing called the Chris Claremont reading order. So you can start from his very first comic, and then he did a bunch of stuff on Miss Marvel. And it's like, hey, here's the first thing he did on X-Men. I'm like, cool. Now I have like 20 years of comics to read, so I'm going to read that in anticipation of Inferno, because that's going to be Jonathan Hickman's last thing, and that's dealing with Moira stuff. Really excited about that. I read a bunch of digital comics this week because it's all the rage these days, you guys. And did anyone else read the Wayne Family Adventures on Webtoons?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, you guys are. It's so good. I can't even. It's just really good. It's so wholesome. It's so fun. Like it's by a Webtoon like team. It's perfect. Like it's truly perfect. It's a perfect comic. Moving into the Marvel edition of the Webtoons, Infinity Comics. They released a bunch of Infinity Comics, X-Men, Black Widow, Captain America, and Shang-Chi. They're all really fun. They're all really great. I think my favorite one is probably the Captain America one. That's written by Jay Edidin, who did the Cyclops Snapshots issue. That's a really, really great up-and-coming writer. They do Jane Miles Explain the X-Men, which is the most popular X-Men podcast of all time. So the fact that they're writing comics is super fantastic. I caught up on Hellions. That's the one X-Men comic that I'm fully caught up on because it rips every single issue. Issue 15. This one was so good. It's so juicy. Like, unfortunately, that book's ending soon, but like, man, this one, things are happening. I read some classic 80s She-Hulk by John Byrne. That guy's kind of gross, but that dude, he's like one of the most talented artist on the planet. He draws the most beautiful She-Hulk on the world. She breaks the fourth wall before Deadpool did. The 50th issue of She-Hulk has John Byrne die, and it has the Marvel editors talk to She-Hulk about the replacement artist, and then there's a bunch of pages of different artists interpreting like that page of She-Hulk, and it's a really cool comic, and it's like making fun of the Marvel editors, like Mark Gruenwald and like all these guys. It's really, really good stuff, and I'm like, I've been reading a lot of old comics, you guys, and turns out they're pretty good. Spoiler alert. I've been reading a lot of Ben Reilly 90s Spider-Man for no reason at all. Oh wait, because he's the new Spider-Man. That's really cool. Back then, he's kind of just like, oh, woe is me. I'm not Peter Parker. So, like, I want to read some more modern stuff where he has his own personality. I listened to 9 chapters of Dune. That book is awesome. I highly recommend the audiobook. And then I watched all of the Evangelion Rebuild movies. I don't have enough words to talk about those movies in this short-ass description, and this thing's already running long. So, like, I already got an Evangelion tattoo. I don't need to get another one. I'll probably need to get another one. I got room right here for it, baby. There's some cool shit in those movies. You guys, I I can't believe it.
I
What a thing.
As I mentioned before, Sparks loaned me the first three movies, so I watched them. I've not seen the fourth one yet. I tried to find time this week. I just couldn't.
No, I get it.
But I really, really like the third one.
Yeah, I don't want to say literally anything because going into that movie without knowing anything, it is truly a ride. That is, it might be my favorite everything, and it's like almost so disconnected from the original series. It's wild.
I have a quick question you watched them on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At the end of the credits of every Rebuild movie, there was a preview for the next film. Do they keep those in the Amazon?
Oh,
cuts?
I don't know because I didn't. Once the credits hit, I kind of just stopped. I didn't.
It's really funny because it lies.
Oh.
And it's like it's Hideki Anno being like, "Hey, here's the next movie." Not really,
but not really. Yeah. There's like a fake out of what the third movie is. That's all.
Well, the second one, the one for the first one's not too dissimilar, but it is still messing with you in a way. But the second one is not the same movie. Like that is if there was a movie that the third one became, that's what the trailer we saw for. But there is nothing that remained of that third movie.
That third one is the one that had the most production problems and had the most time. Like there was a huge time, or not the biggest time gap, not as much as 3 to 4, but like I could imagine something's changed in that production. But I would actually that makes me want to go watch that next on Evangelion movie to see what that could be. Those movies are just so cool. And like it's still true to Evangelion, but they're radically different, and it's really cool. My favorite thing I always talk about is like time, and it's like what time could do to a property. And Hideki Anno is not the same person he was 25 years ago, and it's just really cool to see him like tell the same story in a superbly different way. And eventually you guys will see it, and you'll be like, oh wow.
No, I'm excited to watch them and do discussions about them. Maybe Christmas this year, guys. Maybe we'll come together.
Hell yeah. I'm sure I have a bunch of other comics over here. There's the Last Annihilation mini event happening right now, and I read a couple of those issues. I can't find my Sword number 7, and I'm really mad because that's like the one issue in the event that I'm like waiting. And like I can't read anything else unless I get that one. So I'm like, I have like 200 comics right here, and I'll have to find it. But like Al Ewing is cool. He wrote a Cable issue, and Cable's like, you know what all these pouches are for? And he's in space, and he's like, bullets. And I'm like, hell yeah, Cable. Just really, really stupid fun stuff. Comics are cool, guys. I love comics again. Happy birthday.
Ben?
Okay, yeah. What did I do? So, as I said earlier, I'm playing through all the Metroid games. I beat Super Metroid, and I'm playing through Fusion. Super Metroid is absolutely fantastic, and Metroid Fusion is also kick-ass. So if you have a chance, or if you have a Wii U, definitely download that, because that is an amazing Metroid game. Highly, highly love it. Or if you still have your GBA copy, then sweet. I've been watching DuckTales as a bit of a comfort show because I have been coming home from work. Work has the week we took off was a really hard week, and I was coming home and I'm like, I just need some fun. I just need to do something. So it was either playing a bit of Metroid Fusion or watching DuckTales, and I just finished the Darkwing Duck episode of DuckTales. It is, as Brian's been saying for a while, it is a fantastic show, amazing. Max said it himself, woohoo. And yeah, DuckTales is awesome.
I'm so happy you're finally going to that third season. There's so much that I was finally able to unload on you. We were playing Knockout City the other day that I've just been holding back.
Yeah, even I was like texting you a bit, so I was like, holy shit, this is going on in DuckTales right now. That's awesome how they integrated this other famous 90s Disney afternoon show, and they integrated so well that it's just done like, man, the way they do it, it's not shoehorned in, it's not done disrespectfully, it's just they found a way to put it in and it makes sense. That's one of the things I absolutely love about DuckTales.
Get ready to cry.
I'm probably gonna cry at the end of this. Let's see, I have a whole bunch of comics, haven't even touched them. I have Dune, barely touched that.
It's coming up.
I know. And also, I went to Frankenstein's with Ryan. That was really fun. We were looking at comic books, and I found this DS, and I actually got it. I got it this weekend. So yeah, I got an upgraded system.
Yay! Good for you.
And also, you guys really don't care, but I've been watching football with my mom. It's been really nice just to sit back and relax with her. And the Raiders are now 2-0, so woohoo, go Raiders!
Nice.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all. I'm nothing. Oh, I got this sick ass hat and a sick ass jersey that you guys saw on my Instagram, but that's about it.
Ryan, I am too high for what you just did.
I have no idea what he did.
He's muted. He's muted.
Oh,
What did I do?
You were gone and then you were there. And that was
That's
just,
the magic of technology.
I'm just wow.
I'm just trying to find. Look at this Ghost Rider 2099. Look at that spooky Terminator. I love it.
Ryan, I particularly loved your pop-up Ghost Rider comic.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
that was
like,
so cool.
That's like I can't. That's like for like 5-year-olds, but like 5-year-olds who are like metalheads. Like it's radical. You just open it up and he's like, so cool.
Megan saw it first and shared it with me while we were on the trip, and she's like, Ryan's got a really cool comic. And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, it's a Ghost Rider pop-up. And I'm like, yo, what?
It was like the 25th issue double size, and like the centerfold's like a pop-up. And I'm like, what? I thought it was gonna be a poster, but then I opened it and it's literally straight like a Willy Wonka book, and I'm like, wow. Comics are what's the word?
Cool.
No, like when they try to do something like nifty, nope.
Inventive,
sure. A gimmicky.
Original,
gimmicky. Like they do holographic covers, 3D covers. Pop-ups was hot in the 90s. I'm gonna find more of those.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems like it.
So I have not been reading a lot of comics. I am trying to get back into my comics because it's getting ridiculous. But I picked up a little bit more of Invincible. Read a couple more issues of that. Angstrom Levy is such a cool character.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot that show existed, and that show's coming back. I'm like, oh, such good stuff.
I can't wait for that second season. There are still plot elements in this from the first season that I haven't even gotten to yet. So, it's going to be crazy what they. Oh man, there's a whole issue dedicated to Alan the Alien. Oh, the sex scenes may not hold up very well, but the humor does.
Yeah.
But I did read the 14th volume of Dragon Ball Super, the manga, because I read Dragon Ball manga now because I need my Dragon Ball, guys. I need my Dragon Ball.
I need that fix.
I need that fix. So this goes through Moro on Earth. Vegeta's trying to save the day. He fails like most of Super, and it goes to Goku refusing to kill Moro. I really like Dragon Ball Super. I really like this volume. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Agent Miras of the Galactic Patrol is such a cool character. But why Goku got to save the day all the time? Why can't Vegeta save the day?
This is what I'm saying.
What the hell?
I am hotly anticipating the next chapter and what Vegeta's going to do. It's dropping in 12 hours, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm like, I got to know what's Vegeta doing.
It's just this is the problem with all of Super, the anime going forward. Like, Goku has to be the one who wins, and kind of the really fun part about Dragon Ball Z is that, and even Dragon Ball to an extent, is that he's not the only person who saves the day. Sometimes it's Gohan. Sometimes it's Piccolo.
It's always funny though because they have to like figure out ways to get him out. Like, oh, he has like a heart disease.
Yeah.
For some reason.
But really,
go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, it's just like Goku didn't defeat Cell.
Yeah. This really took center stage when Resurrection F came out because everybody was like, it's got to be Vegeta.
Yeah.
Like Vegeta's got to be the one to finally beat Frieza because Goku's already done it. It's got to be his moment. And then it pissed everyone off because Vegeta does, but then Goku has to undo and cheat.
Yeah.
And so like Goku gets the win and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. And I just want, look, it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff with Goku, but there's a lot of really cool stuff with Vegeta. And just once, I get Goku's your hero, but Goku didn't win the battle each time. Let Vegeta be that character. Let Vegeta beat the big bad at least once.
Yeah.
And he learned a new move, and I think it looks stupid. Cool new move. Really into the move. Stupid design. But anyway, so I'm really excited for the next volume. It doesn't come out to January, so Sparks, hook me up, buddy. Hook me up.
I will hook you up.
Get me in there.
I mean, Sparks is already giving me some anime right now that's I need to watch. So he's like, remember back in the day when you were my comic book dealer, Brandon?
Yes.
Sparks is now our anime dealer.
I realize now I shouldn't have done that until you finished Dune.
You're right. Probably not.
You got a month.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like the Dragon Ball Super manga. Ultra Instinct is a really cool power that I'm glad to see Goku utilize more. They still got to find a way to get Beerus not involved in something, which I think is always funny. Moro's a really cool villain, and like one of the coolest villains that Super's designed, in just design and character, and really hope we learn about that anime soon because I'd love to see him in animation.
I'm sure it's going to be a while
after the movie.
Yeah. I played some KO City, Knockout City. The superhero event was happening these past 2 weeks. That was really cool. I really liked the event.
It really
I hope to bring it back. And then I up-resed my Miles Morales PS4 game to the PS5 because it was a free upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
That was I was running up a building and I was like, is that my shadow? No, it's my reflection.
Yeah. I don't know if you tried it, but there are two different, most of PS5 games have two different resolution sets. You can either have like 4K resolutions or 60 frames per second, which doubles the frame. So it makes it smoother. You should definitely check it out in the options because like both look great, but like there's something special about 60 frames because almost all PS4 games are 30. And now we have like true processing where it's like everything's smooth as shit, man.
You talking about the 4K stuff actually brought up a specific thing. So from the Disney World trip, our hotel room TVs were 4K.
Wow.
And we watched Tangled and stuff on it. And I'm angry because these 4K TVs look so good. And I'm like, I have a 4K TV. How come my shit doesn't look this good? Why is 4K such a vast medium of, this looks good, and this looks, whoa. Like, I don't understand. I was mad about it.
Yo, man, 1920, like 4K, it's almost double, baby.
All right. So the Miles Morales game, I love playing with the controller, the PS5 controller, the haptic controller. It feels so cool when you're swinging. It's giving you like resistance. Like that was, I've not played a PS5 game with the controller. You can use the controller stuff. So that was really special.
I can't wait for you to eventually play Avengers because like now there's 9 heroes and all of them, like when you run, there's like different movements when they run. When like Black Widow, when she shoots her different guns, like different resistances to her guns. Like that's
cool.
It's hella cool, man. Yeah.
You definitely should put in the time to play Astro's Playroom.
Yeah. That's like a tech demo. That's hella. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's like an hour and a half long too. It's really quick.
All right. Which order I want to do this? I'll do it this order. I watched the last two episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine ever. I've been watching that show since it started so long ago. It's my favorite sitcom on TV. I love the cast. I love the characters. Just wanted to say that because it's gone and I haven't really talked about it a whole lot on the show. But that was the final 2 episodes and I think they really nailed it. It's another heist gone wrong. And it just goes the wrongest. Terry Crews runs through a wall. And there's a really sweet moment where all the characters just kind of talk about things because things are ending in the show as well. Made me cry. Really sad the show's gone. Really happy they went out on their own terms.
Yeah, it's really cool because like that show was like in a worrisome state for a while, and then luckily it got picked up.
It was canceled the 4th season at Fox, and then NBC picked it up to do it again. Mag says, "So glad I got to watch it." In the comments, And then I watched the final episode of Lego Masters. Lego Masters is a very good game show. In the first season, the second season had a lot of really great builders, and I really liked them. But this is a problem on the editing: too much Will Arnett, and not enough watching the contestants build. That's what we're here for. We're here to watch these guys build these cool things, these freehand builds of Lego. We don't see a lot of that, and if you're a show called Lego Masters, you got to show me some of that. That was a bummer. And then as it got towards the end, it started to become very clear that the judges favored two contestants. These two white kids, Michael and Jacob, Stephen and Jacob. One of their names is Jacob, doesn't matter. They stuck for one of the things, they had to combine a land and a sea animal. So they just stuck a giraffe head on top of a jellyfish, and that's what they did. And it was ugly, and they weren't in the bottom two. I didn't say they need to go home, but they weren't in the bottom two, and that was ridiculous. But there's these two Asian kids, Zach and Wayne. Great guys, super nice, super supportive, excellent builders. They're excellent builders and storytellers, which was a big part of the season. So they were talking about like the story was very important to the judges. So they were telling these incredible stories, this incredible builds. They clearly should have won, but they didn't. It was the two white guys who did not have a good build. Look, they're great builders, but I'm just like, I don't understand how the judges could be so blind, and they have been like the past 4 episodes, and it's so frustrating. And I'm like, is it racist? Were you just not going to let the Asian people win?
I didn't know if you knew this, Brandon, but one of the judges, their father was a jellyfish, so they had a bias.
Oh man, that was good.
You gotta look out for that jellyfish bias, man.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Anyway, I'm not happy with the way the show ended. I do really like it. It's a really fun game show. It's the only show of its kind that I watch because it's Lego. These guys are super impressive builders, and I love watching them free build. And then I watched a little show called Doom Patrol.
Never heard of it.
I started on my vacation Doom Patrol because I was like, I need to finally do this because the 3rd season's coming. Whatever. And I'm wearing a Brendan Fraser shirt. I love myself some Brendan Fraser. So I was like, yeah, screw it. Let's do it. It's 15 episodes of some solid superhero TV. I've only watched the 1st season. I haven't gotten to the 2nd season yet.
That's okay.
It's freaking incredible. The characters are so well defined and relatable, and like you've heard. I mean, the audience, Ben, whoever cares, you've heard it before. It's like it's not your traditional superhero show. It's like it's not, but that's because it's not a superhero show. It's a show about misfits trying to fit in, and that's just so good.
Yeah, it's a bunch of broken people trying to become better, and just every type of adversary trying to stop them from doing that, and them just going, actually, sometimes you do stop me because I'm broken, but then they fight it, and they're like, actually, no, I am becoming better. I am a good person.
Yeah.
That show is like, it reminds me a lot of Legion, and not just because of how bonkers it is, but how like just like personal it can get. But like sometimes I think it's even more emotional. Like it like really gets to like the core of like who people are and like the trauma they go through. And I'm like, man, Doom Patrol really is like one of the most special, not just comic book shows. It's one of the most special shows like just ever made, man. I love it.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree 100%. Welcome to the party, Brand.
I wanted to, when I was doing it, I was like, it'd be funny. I don't know why I thought this. I was like, it'd be funny if I just tweeted vague tweets about actors in Doom Patrol and see if I can not say I'm watching Doom Patrol. I don't know why I decided to do that. It was a stupid idea. After my 3rd one, I was like, I don't fucking care about this. So
I snagged the bait.
Yeah, that's true. So I tweeted about like I missed that Constantine TV show because Willoughby showed up, and he's Grant Morrison's answer to the fact that they couldn't use Constantine in Doom Patrol. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I missed that Constantine TV show. Max says it's one of the best stories to tell DC where it is. Yeah. There's what was I saying? I'm sorry, I lost track of my thought.
Doom Patrol, it's super unique and like it's very hot and special.
Oh, my tweets. It was, and so and then I posted like, oh man, Timothy Dalton's got such a great voice. I miss his Rassilon from Doctor Who.
Yes, that's right.
Because like he's in Doctor Who, and I love Timothy Dalton anyway, so I was like, I should watch those last 2 episodes of David Tennant again. And he's so good in Doom Patrol, and Alan Tudyk is so good in Doom Patrol. And then I tweeted like, isn't a multiple personality disorder with superpowers really cool, and that's what the one that Ryan took.
Mm-hmm. That's to me.
Flex Mentalo.
Flex Mentallo, Danny the Street is such the oh my god, the episode that Danny Patrol, the episode that introduces Danny the Street, is one of the best episodes of the show. Just Matt Bomer has got some pipes on him.
Yes,
man, I really like it.
So back in college, I took a comic book class, and Flex Mentallo is one of the books we had to read.
Hell yeah.
Brandon didn't read this book, but it was one of the craziest books I've read. And and we're playing Knockout City, and Brandon's like, "Yo, Flex Mentallo's on it." I was like, "Oh yeah, that is." And then he tells me what happened on a day in the street, and I'm like, "What?"
Oh man, he's got muscle mystery.
Flex Mentallo is one of the best characters ever adapted to the screen. I'm so happy with that show. I'm glad you're here.
The cockroach. Because it could talk and had no whiskers.
We will, Brandon, now that you're here, we will find the opportunity to talk about this.
Yeah, I really love it. I was trying to figure out what I could do for Brendan Fraser, but I couldn't figure it out. Brendan Fraser, I'm surprised at what they do with the lot, because Brendan Fraser's in it a lot more than I thought he would be for being like a voice. He gets some really great moments. Matt Bomer and Timothy Dalton are the same way. Like, I'm surprised at how much they're in it, considering they don't need to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I watched a couple movies. I watched Jungle Cruise again with my dad. I'm actually really excited to tell the story because he watched it with my mom, and they both hated it. And I was like, yeah, why? Because you like this sort of thing. You like this sort of movie. And he's like, I just couldn't understand it. And I was like, well, the subtitles on? And he goes, no, we couldn't figure it out. I was like, well, that's why you can't hear. So I figured out how to put the subtitles on, and the subtitles are on, and we're watching the movie, and the opening narration is like, oh, I missed all of this.
Oh wow, that's funny.
So my dad watched it with me. I got to spend time with my dad, whom I love. So and he really liked the movie. So I was like, yeah, there you go.
That's good. Brandon, do you know who Plant
Dino Mineral Man?
Plant Dino Mineral Man. Okay.
It's animal vegetable mineral
man.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed Asner is in it. That was fun little. Mm-hmm. Yeah, animal vegetable mineral man. The way they handled him was really great. He's got a dinosaur. He's got a velociraptor head. Ben. Yeah. And a normal human head.
Just watch the show.
So it's a human head and a velociraptor head next to each other.
And they don't get along. Or they do? I don't know.
They don't get along.
Yeah.
Essentially, every sentence you're saying, my brain's just rebuffering of what.
Ben, it is a show where Flex Mentallo makes Ascension Street come.
No.
He saw the clip.
Spoilers.
He saw the clip. The clip was doing the rounds years ago.
The audience.
Like, it's not. I don't remember what I was going to say. I was going to say.
Like,
it's fine.
Those words, you cannot spoil that moment. Also, it is.
I don't think so. No.
It is very intense.
It's just like that. The weirdness. That's what I was going to say. The weirdness isn't the important part. Yes, it's weird as hell, but the what they do with the characters grounds it in such a reality that I didn't expect. It isn't about being the weird DC show. It is about telling the story of human characters in inhuman situations.
It very much doesn't feel like a DC show.
Well, that's true. All right, Jungle Cruise. Reminiscence. We've talked about that. Ryan, you missed something in your week.
I did.
Malignant.
Oh, I did see Malignant.
Yeah.
Oh, it rips. It's so good. Oh, I can't believe that movie's real.
Yeah, I watched it in theaters when I got back. Loved it. It's so wild.
God, I can't. You haven't seen it yet, Sparks? That's fine. You know how like I knew it was going to be a good movie, but the trailers like I was like I'll see it. Holy shit, my man! It's the craziest studio horror movie made in a long time. I can't believe that movie's real. I will happily watch it with you again.
Okay.
Yeah, there are.
I assume we'll have to do a review then.
I don't know if I want to.
We don't have to. And I know I've seen people who it's like their least favorite movie of the year, and I immediately knew I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this movie. Oh yeah, it's one of those. Oh yeah.
Truly, I found the first half actually to be terrifying. But it's got some wild ideas that I didn't expect, and I really appreciated the long swing that James Wan decided to take.
Yeah.
I watched Casino Royale because I'm going to watch the first 4 Daniel Craig Bond films in a row, leading up to No Time to Die. That movie's really good. I always forget how good that movie is. I haven't seen it in ages, and just like the theme song starts, I'm like, damn, this theme song rocks.
You know my name. Oh yeah, rest in peace, Chris Cornell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Daniel Craig. I forgot how good he was in that first James Bond movie. Love Casino Royale.
Man, he has plenty of time to die, if you ask me.
Oh, apparently, there's no time to die though.
No, I have these 4 movies worth of dying.
It's every single movie he's retiring. Being James Bond is a documentary about 45 minutes long on Apple TV Plus for free, should you have it. And it's about Daniel Craig's time as James Bond, which I thought was really sweet. It's just a kind of thing about Daniel Craig. What was it, Daniel Radcliffe? Daniel Craig, Barbara Broccoli, and whatever her husband's name is, talking about casting James Bond, casting Daniel Craig, and the struggles that he went through in the beginning, which I totally forgot about, and then going through the movies and talking candidly about where they failed with Quantum of Solace, and even Spectre, and talking about their successes of Skyfall and what that meant to Judi Dench, and what it meant to her. It's like really interesting look and really heartfelt, really candid. I love candid documentaries like that. Really happy they put that out. If you like James Bond, or even if you just like Daniel Craig's James Bond, I highly recommend it. It's really good.
There's a clip going online right now of Daniel Craig talking at the end of production of No Time to Die. And it's just like a 30-second clip. It's like, hey, thanks, some people have been a part of this ride for all 5 movies, and like, I love you all. Thank you so much, and blah blah blah. It's like, that is a long journey for an actor.
Yeah. And he talks about in that about him not wanting to come back for No Time to Die, and even Spectre.
Yeah.
So he talks really interestingly about I coming out of Spectre, I was really tired. I wanted people to stop asking me, so I said something I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I'm gonna do one more Bond film, and that'll be it.
Maybe this time he will retire.
He probably is gonna retire this one because he said he doesn't want to do anymore. But he said that last time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has no time to die.
That's true. No time to die. All right, shall we get into our news then?
I have no time for this news.
Oh, we're dancing. We dancing.
Well, floating
That's
head.
an image.
All right, we have some sad news up top. A couple of hard passings this past 2 weeks. We'll talk first about
Like a kidney stone over here.
Norm Macdonald, a comedian, passed away at 61 after a 9-year battle with cancer that he was completely silent about.
Yeah, that's very surprising. Unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman passed away this year, and he's been hiding it too. But hiding it for almost like a decade, man. That's a lot to deal with. And I want to get out. Like, Norm Macdonald has said a lot of shitty things. He's an older comedian. Everyone says really shitty things, so I'm not going to defend any of that stuff. But he's also a really important comedian for a lot of people. And he's one of the first comedians I remember at a young age of this dude just doesn't care. He's so funny. And he just doesn't care, not in a way of being offensive, just he doesn't care about if you've ever seen him on SNL, that dude is so nonchalant, and his Burt Reynolds is just so stupid and funny. He's like, yeah, Burt Reynolds. Yeah, what's up? Hey. And I was like, there's nobody else like him. And just to think that he was fighting this battle for so long, and that he continued to just be silly for as long as he was. And I'm like, man, what a trooper.
Yeah, I did not recognize him at first. I kind of feel like I saw him. I recognize him, I've seen this guy before somewhere.
Yeah.
But I couldn't place it, and then it was pointed out to me that he was actually the voice of Yaphet in Star Trek, The Orville.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's friends.
Which should have opened up a whole bunch of voice acting from him, because he's one of the most prolific comedians of our time, but also one of the most prolific voice actors.
He's
Yeah,
also the voice of the ferryman in Klaus. Or
Yes.
Klaus.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh
he
man.
is.
Yeah,
I
that
forgot
was.
about
I mean,
Yeah.
I knew Norm Macdonald
Guys.
through his voice, and then when I watched Claus again last year, I was like, "Yep, that's Norm Macdonald, all right."
I forgot. Yeah.
But let's never forget his iconic role as Lucky the dog in the Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle films.
Oh my God.
He was so hot in the 90s. Yeah. Oh man, that's so funny.
Oh man.
Yes, that in
Oh,
Family
that's
Guy as
right.
well.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, he was
Mag-
so big, man.
Mag
Oh,
just
man.
said he was the original character of Death in Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, he did record all of his lines for Yaphet in season 3, so that'll be probably his last performance, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald, incredible talent, honestly.
And then last week, the week prior, Michael K. Williams hurt like hell, and he passed away at the age of 54 due to a suspected drug overdose.
Yeah. And it's not been talked about a lot, but it's suspected that because a lot of people in Hollywood do cocaine. There's a problem in Hollywood right now with people spiking cocaine with fentanyl. And I'm only knowing this because there's a famous screenwriter. I won't say his name because just in case for any reason he doesn't care. He said it publicly on Twitter, but he's like, I was at a party where 3 people I know died from this exact thing. Like, this is a huge problem that's happening in recreational drug circles, and it's like, it's an unfortunate thing that happens in all types of drug problems. And I'm not condoning drug use, but everyone does whatever they want to do. This was just a serious unfortunate accident. And it took one of the most talented people on the planet. And it's like, it's just so unfortunate, man.
Ben.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Boardwalk Empire?
I did not.
Oh, I don't know where you have seen him in. Because you didn't watch Lovecraft Country or...
He was in The Wire. He was in Cormac McCarthy's The Road. He was in... He showed up in, I think he was in Community for like a minute.
I was gonna say my big thing that I know him from were Boardwalk Empire and Community. He plays Dr. Kane in Community, a prisoner who became a doctor, and his first appearance is one of the best episodes of Community. And he's such a fun, I quote him all the time. It's just like, you guys have weird reactions to things. Hey, what happened to Lego? I love him on that show. I love him as an actor. Oh, Moonlight. He was one of the main in the first segment of Moonlight. He's excellent actor. Lovecraft Country was the last thing I saw him in.
Yeah,
he's excellent in that.
He was an actor who, obviously because of his face, he in his early 20s, a guy attacked him with a razor blade, and that's why he has that scar. So he got typecasted a lot as being a thug and stuff. But he was a background dancer, and he was in musical theater. And if you know anything about his personal life or seen Twitter, Journey Smollett's been posting a lot of stuff about him. This really hurt her a lot. He was just a super multifaceted dude, and he was he looked like a very tough dude, but he was super sweet and really sweet. And Lovecraft Country exemplified that so well of him being a tough guy who's really emotional. And it's I just think of that. I think of that episode where he's in the club and he's with his lover and he's just getting to be free for the first time in his life. And I'm like, what a performance, man. I'm just yeah, this one sucks, man.
Yeah.
I was just looking at what some of his last bodies of work are going to be, and it's 2 films yet to come out, which are Surrounded and 892. But it's also Battlefield 2042.
Oh, word? Is it that?
Yeah.
Shit. I was already buying it. I'm double buying it. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. I love him. He's such a wonderful actor. I'm so devastated by this news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sucks.
All right. Shall we get into the news then?
News
the rest
time,
of the
baby.
news. Marvel Unlimited.
Real quick, just thinking about Michael K. Williams. I'm really glad that one of the last things in his body of work that we have is his appearance in Lovecraft Country, where he has one of the most emotional representations of a man confronting his sexuality that we've had on screen in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing.
Yeah. That's really, it's a solid piece that I'm glad that we got to get from him.
Yeah, me too. Well, as Ryan mentioned, Marvel Unlimited happened a couple weeks ago. They had a big relaunch where I have a couple of what did, but one of the big things is that they're going to include new original comics for Marvel Unlimited called Infinity Comics.
Yeah. Yep.
And you talked about the X-Men and the Captain America one already.
And Shang-Chi and Black Widow, and the Jeff one's pretty funny.
Yeah. So the 27 launched with the at the beginning, and there's planned to be like 100 more by the end of the year, which is crazy.
Oh yeah, they're going hard on this initiative. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like all one. They're like meant to be like one panel.
Yes. Some artists do it. The Jonathan Hickman, Declan Shalvey X-Men one is done very well. There's like the first like couple pages quote unquote is the sword base, and it's like it's like at the beginning of Star Wars when the Empire ship is coming down the thing, and you're just scrolling and it's just a ship, and you're just scrolling and there's details all of the ship. It's incredible. And the same with the webtoons thing. Like it's they're really doing really impressive stuff with digital comics. I like Sparks has Marvel Unlimited. Like I think it's like the best deal in comics right now. Like it's 3 months. Yeah. You're waiting only 3 months for new comics. Like it made my pull list a lot easier.
Yeah. Jonathan Hickman, Declan Shalvey, Scotty Young, Dax Gordine, Alyssa Wong, Nathan Stockman, Kelly Thompson, Jerry Duggan, Lucas Wernick, and Jeffo, among others, are contributing Marvel Infinity Comics.
Oh yeah.
New features will include unlimited digital downloads, enhanced product design that enables new content curation and presentation, personalized reading guides based on user performance, speed, performance, and new search capabilities.
Yeah, so far I've been loving it. Like again, like I used it for that Chris Claremont reading guide. Like every event, every character, like it also has like a lot of these Infinity comics are actually just like one-shot stories of the character. Like there's a lot. Like if you want to just know a base of the character, like Venom, here's a 10-page story about Venom to catch you up. It's like it's called Primer. It's like an Infinity Primer. Really, really cool. Like they're putting a lot of effort. It's funny it's happening at the exact same time the Webtoon stuff is happening. Webtoons is free. That's the one difference. So that's why Webtoons is going to beat it by a million miles. But this stuff's really cool.
Content sharing outside of the app will also be available, and they'll have a new annual plan. So Annual Plus will be $99 a year, and will give users the monthly and $69 a year membership, as well as an exclusive membership kit, invites to events, and 10% off shopdisney.com.
Nah, I'll just read the comics.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
Timeless. No longer. We're going to just talk about the fact that Joe Bennett's not on Timeless anymore.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The Marvel event. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Joe Bennett sucks, and it's really cool. Like pretty much everyone who's worked with him is like, yeah, like he sucks, and we don't want to work with him anymore. And Marvel was just like quietly like, hey, guess what? Greg Land is now the artist on this book. Just don't tell anybody except for Joe Bennett.
Oh, okay. I think I remember seeing tweets about I remember Ryan, you shared a tweet from Al Ewing, talking about how he was drawing Immortal Hulk.
Yeah. Joe Bennett is just he's not a great person, and he unfortunately drew anti-Semitic stuff into Al Ewing's comics, and Al Ewing is one of the nicest, most wholesome people on the internet and in the world. And it's like it has to suck to have not just one of the greatest comics of all time, but like just one of the your own personal pieces of art tainted by a piece of shit. And like I cannot fathom like because people don't read that comic anymore because of Joe Bennett. And that is not an Al Ewing at all. And I feel so bad for that dude. So like he had to make a statement like, I'm done with that guy. So don't worry, guys. Moving forward, we're good.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of people drop that book because of the Joe Bennett. I'm like, man, Al Ewing doesn't deserve that.
No, yeah.
Ryan, what's your favorite trope?
Oh yeah, I know this news. It's the old man Logan trope, but only when it's not 15 years old.
Well, King Conan.
Oh, okay.
Is coming. Yeah, it's a different one. Sorry.
No, it's not. This one's fine.
King Conan by Jason Aaron, with art by Mahmoud Asrar and Matthew Wilson, will be a 6-issue miniseries, and will find Conan restless as he sits on the throne of Aquilonia, searching once more for adventure. Basically, it's an old man Conan story.
So this of all the old man, like there's a bunch of these types of stories happening now. This is one that makes sense. One, because this is a story that's been in development for the movies for decades, like having like Arnold Schwarzenegger come back and be King Conan. This has been an idea that's been floated around for a long time. So have it to happen in the comics makes perfect sense. Like absolutely. I don't know if I'll read it. Like all the stuff happening with Conan right now is really good. Like I was picking it up when it started. But just too many comics, you know. I might check out the first issue. We'll see. But I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I really hope that they make that King Conan film before Schwarzenegger passes.
They will. They will. Hollywood is that way.
Oh, I didn't put the twins news in the news. Is that okay? Tracy Morgan.
Nope.
With yeah.
Nope.
All right. Well, a little bit more comics news. Jeff Lemire. This is actually a couple weeks old, but I totally forgot to put it in. Jeff Lemire is moving to Substack as well.
Yeah.
As well as many of his peers. He's going to donate all of the money he earns through subscriptions to Rainbow Railroad, an LGBTQ plus nonprofit organization.
Did you say all of the money, Brandon?
He said all of the money.
That's what I'm talking about, baby, because Jeff Lemire already has a lot of money. That's why.
He's got a couple TV shows on the books.
Yeah, that dude. He definitely like got paid to do this, but like it's really, really nice that like he doesn't need the money. And like the thing, so I just listened to a great podcast about Substack, and the thing that is a huge positive that I wasn't fully looking at is this is giving creators just unlimited funds to do whatever the hell they want. So like James Tynion, he gets to create as many books as he wants with all of his friends, and he gets to pay them the money that they deserve. So that part I have no problem with, right? So Jeff Lemire going to Substack and like not even really like taking the money in a way, like that, I have no problem with that, because like I'll still get that Jeff Lemire book from like Image or Dark Horse, right? Like
right,
because totally cool.
Because Substack has come under fire because of the fact that they're like freedom of speech for all and not in hate speech.
Yeah. I also learned that like the deals were between $200,000 and $600,000, and I'm like, oh yeah, I would have joined Substack in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
His first book he'll publish is called Fish Flies, which will be drawn by him, and he expects it to be his longest book since Sweet Tooth.
Ooh.
So that's pretty long, actually.
That is.
He mostly does minis or self-contained stuff. He will also publish new Black Hammer comics stories, which bums me out. Starting with a new Colonel Weird comic, co-written by Tate Bromble, who did the most recent Barbalian.
Barbalian, yeah.
With fully painted art by Ray Fox.
Ray Fox is great. I just picked this Jeff Lemire book up and I haven't read it yet. May's book. What's up?
The Black Hammer ones bums me out because he said that they'll be collected, but it's implied in trade format only and not as single issues.
Yes,
that's fine. I've got as an OCD collector like me, like I've got every single issue of Black Hammer. I love that universe, and I guess I'll just have to get books as well.
Here's what you could do, Brandon. You can subscribe to Jeff Lemire's Substack, and then you can just print out the pages on your printer.
Oh yeah. And then I'll just get them bound.
Yeah. That's definitely the way to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, good for him, though. He's getting paid and he's doing a really cool thing with that money.
Absolutely. Like the amount of money that the Substack thing is bringing in is a lot. Like it's pretty successful for most of the big creators. And I expect Jeff Lemire to be no different. So like, that's a lot of extra money to some great profits. Like that's great.
Sparks, Final Space, Season 3.
Yeah, so Final Space Season 3 was announced to be the last one. It just it ended a little bit ago. This is from YouTube sensation Olan Rogers.
I mean, like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a really incredible show. And he's moving on to other projects, but he put out a really heartfelt video where he was talking about like, boy, it really sucks because like that's not how I wanted it to end. But there it is, and he was very candid about the fact that like the show had survived one merger, which was the merger of Warner with AT&T, and it did not survive the one that is happening now, but with Discovery. And it was one of the shows that got cut because of that, and it's a big bummer.
I know we talked about it a while ago. Yeah. But I started to watch The Owl House and I forgot to bring it up. And The Owl House also was getting canceled. And I sent you a tweet, Sparks. And the creator of that show also isn't happy with the way that show's going. And I'm just like, all of these great shows, man, they just can't make it. This is
a common issue with animated shows, but it tends to be relegated usually to Cartoon Network and Disney Channel. But this was a Warner TBS cartoon. that also moved to HBO Max that is suffering, which is a big bummer. Final Space was incredibly inventive and cool and emotional. I still recommend people watch it. I think it's really great. I have not gotten to watch season 3 because I don't have access to TBS, so I'm waiting for season 3 to drop on HBO Max. But really solid show. I hate that this is happening. Bums me out. It bums me out about Owl House as well. Not getting a third season, but instead just getting a chunk of specials to round out its story. Similar issues happened with Star versus the Forces of Evil, OKKO, Steven Universe even. Like this shit sucks when it happens.
All right. Well, Halloween Kills. We know it's coming out on October 15th, but it will also now release day and date on Peacock.
That's cool.
Huh.
I
All
know
right.
that they like delay this movie because of the pandemic. So like, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
That like, I'm all for TV theater. I'm all for it. I'll probably see it in theaters. I like a good spooky.
Honestly, I'm not sure what took them so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Peacock there. Do it.
Yeah. They've had
And you-
Peacock.
And you're
How
not
long
going to
have
push it. You're not going to push it. Launch this year. They're not going to push it another Halloween because you can't put it anywhere else but Halloween.
They got another movie waiting already.
Yeah, so like you can't push it to the next Halloween.
I think that is the reason, is that the variant numbers do scare people, that like people won't go to these movies. And Halloween couldn't be moved. You're right.
Yeah.
It just couldn't be moved. And they were like, okay, well, maybe we could get some more Peacock subscribers this way if they're not willing to go to the theaters for it.
Yeah.
Halloween is a big enough, probably honestly Paramount's biggest film grab right now.
Is it free on Peacock, or you have to pay for it?
I don't know what the tier levels of Peacock are, but it's not going to be free because that is only a paid service.
It's going to be, I'm sure it's not the lowest tier, which is where you get like the commercials and stuff, but you don't get like Peacock original content.
I mean, it's
gonna
not
be
Disney.
the next tier up.
It's not $30 Disney Plus. Like if you just have the if you pay $9.99.
Oh, right. No, they're it looks like they're doing what HBO Max did.
Okay, I think that's that makes me want to get Peacock for just that movie, you know?
Yeah.
So I can answer your questions on the whole Peacock tier. There is a free tier of Peacock, but the content on it is severely limited. I tried to watch Sunday Night Football, but I had to get the lowest paid tier, which is $49 a month, which is all the content on Peacock, but with ads. So there's the free tier, the middle paid tier, which is $5 a month, and then the no ad paid tier, which is $10 a month.
I bet it's the $10 one.
So the free tier is you have ads, but you get access to like old stuff, but you don't get access to like the originals and things like that.
I couldn't watch live, unlike with Paramount Plus, where I could watch live TV, no problem. I had to pay for to watch the live Sunday Night Football game that's streaming on NBC.
And
I watched Star Trek Day on Paramount Plus. I thought that was really cool.
WNBC.
Thank you for Paramount Plus.
What? I didn't do anything. You can't prove it.
No, that's right. I can't prove it.
I'll be seeing Halloween Kills in theaters. Thank you.
Yeah,
Me
I wouldn't
too.
miss it. But
Also-
like what HBO Max did. Ultimately, I think this is a net positive, and all in all, yeah.
Also, Max said the only movie he knows that was delayed for sure is Jackass.
Oh, we talked about a bunch of delays.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, Jackass should have gone to Paramount Plus. Is it Paramount? No, it's Universal. Should have gone to a streamer.
That's a small movie. That should have just let me watch it on my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion we talked a bit about up top. This is not the Muppet version, which I was confused by when I first saw this news. This is the other one that's happening.
Another one.
Owen Wilson and Rosario Dawson have joined the cast of this film.
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
I like those people. All right.
I like both those actors very well, or very much.
I'm optimistic for that movie. Real quick, in related Haunted Mansion news, the Muppet one did announce that the daughter of the original Madame Leota will be in the special.
Oh,
nice.
that's awesome.
Legacy. I love it.
Well, she's the voice of Madame Leota when they turn into Halloween, right?
I don't know nothing.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, I think that's true.
Yeah, it was explained in the Imagineering story, but anyways, that's a side tangent.
Furiosa.
Yeah.
That cool new Mad Max spinoff
Hell yeah.
is moving from its May 27th. I moved these. May 27th, 2023.
Mhm.
Nope. It's moving to May 27th, 2024 from June 23rd, 2023.
It's moving a year, basically.
It's moving a year.
Okay. Well, I mean, that movie, that's still so far away. Like, it's no difference to me.
I know, but like, think about it. 2024.
That just makes me thrilled that the movie's still happening. And I know that like Anya Taylor-Joy is still going to be Furiosa in that movie, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith hit a roadblock.
Oh no.
As Phoebe Waller-Bridge has exited the series due to creative differences, Donald Glover is still attached to star and co-create. So he's looking for a new co-star.
Phoebe, why? No.
It's a big bummer. They went on to stress that they're still friends, but apparently their two creative voices were just button heads way too much.
I mean, sometimes I like it happens. Like I respect that. Like I hope they are still friends, because like I couldn't imagine like the beef between them. That'd be so funny.
It definitely takes some of the wind out of the sails for me to be excited about it now that she's no longer part of it.
Yeah. A little bit me too.
I will say I'm glad at least one of them's still on there, because like those are both like mad talents. Like I'm glad they both didn't leave, because then I wouldn't care at all. You know, I still do kind of care that it's still Donald Glover.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right, that was all last week though, so now we're on this week.
Mm-hmm.
With some comics, both Marvel and DC had their solicitations this week, and boy howdy.
Maku.
Demon Days announced fourth one-shot, Rising Storm. This is Peach Momoko's series. Basically, the only reason why I want to bring this up is because it's introducing new versions of Thor and Storm as gods, as like Oni gods. It looks so cool.
I love Peach Momoko. Oh my god. Too talented. Too talented for me, you guys.
Too talented, 5 me. Three talented, 5 me.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
I got there. All right. Anyway, so it looks really cool. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We don't have to spend time on that.
I'm buying all those books, baby. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sabretooth is coming from whatever the next X-Men era is going to be, spinning out of X Lives and Deaths of Wolverine. This is the long rumored Victor Lavelle book. He is attached to a 5-issue miniseries of Sabretooth with Leonard Kirk and Rain Barredo.
It's a sick.
So, yeah.
That's a sick ass creative team. Sparks, you and I, we love us some Destroyer. Man, like Sabretooth in any other like writer's hands, it's just gonna be like, oh, that's a dude who just loves beating up people and murdering. He's just a bad dude. But like now that I know that this dude's behind it, it's going to be so much more psychological to going to do in depth of a serial killer. Like it's going to be, I'm so stoked for what this book is. Like it's also probably going to go into like what the prison system of Krakoa is. Cause if you don't remember, Sabretooth is just locked in a pit for an eternity. And like, we just haven't heard from him for 2 years. So like, I have never cared more about Sabretooth than when this was announced, like for real.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Like Victor Lavelle being on board is a dream. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. The idea of figuring out what he's been doing since he fell in the pit. I'm into it. Unfortunately, X-Men also brought with it some sad news this week, as Hellions was revealed to be coming to an end at issue 18 in October and December.
Which we'd heard rumor about, right?
Yeah. So we're starting to hear more and more books are coming to an end. January is definitely a big shift in like, you know, it is another relaunch of a bunch of books. I know Zeb Wells isn't like leaving. Like I'm sure he's going to do another X book, but Hellions is coming to an end. I think it's the best X book right now. Like I was talking about issue 15. Like this issue is such a like, oh shit, everything is culminating, like everything is finally coming together, and like issue 18 seems like a satisfying ending. Like it doesn't need to go any further, right? Like this would be a solid through line through everything that's happened, including all stuff on House of X and Powers of 10. Like there's stuff happening in this issue, and I'm like, shit, man. Hellions is so good. Comics are good. Sad it's ending.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of books are coming to an end. X-Core, Way of X, which was meant to end. That month we'll also see the end of Inferno and the Trial of Magneto, because their miniseries are ending.
It's gonna be a spicy month, man.
So it is definitely to get ready for the next.
It's just going to be called Walks, the Wolverine of X, and it's all just Wolverine books.
It's also really weird. Like the solicitations for Marauders imply it's ending, but it doesn't say final issue.
Yeah, I think 27 might be its final issue, but I think it might just be relaunching, because the final cover, it's like an homage to the first cover where all the characters are like just like in their newer costumes and stuff. Like the pirate ship is gone and stuff. So I think it might just be getting relaunched.
Because they also say like the first voyage of the Marauders comes to an end, and I'm like, wait, is this book ending too, or are we just moving into the next story arc and making like a relaunch?
I think maybe the sales aren't what they want it to be, so they need a fresh number one.
I mean, yeah, that's what they do.
That's what the case is, yeah.
Okay, we like Batman. No?
Occasionally.
Well, what about Batman Beyond?
Oh, I love Batman Beyond.
Yes.
Yeah, Batman Beyond's pretty cool. He's getting a new 6-issue miniseries called Neo Year, by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with art by Max Dunbar. This is spinning off of Batman Urban Legends number 7, which just came out, which has a Batman Beyond story as its kind of main story. This will see Terry forge a new path after the death of Bruce. That's basically all the solicitations tell us right now. He's gonna strike out on his own.
Yeah, so this is the first year after Bruce is dead. I'm excited because this is the creative team, or at least the writers who are doing Kang right now, and I just picked up issue 2 of Kang. I think the book is really rad. I really like those guys. And I like Batman Beyond, and I haven't really touched Batman Beyond, I think, since Future's End, if you want to count that. So like I am ready to get into like, oh, this is like the next step for that character and like in that universe. And I'm like, I think I'll give it the first issue for sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. 6 issues could just make look like a nice book on your bookshelf.
Le book.
That's starting in. Did I say le book?
Le book.
Le book. That's coming out April 5th, 2022, next year.
Oh, that's far. Okay.
Okay. Well, what about? So we're not crazy about Batman. Sometimes we like Batman Beyond. What about Batgirl? We like Batgirl.
I like Batgirl.
Which one? What are we talking about?
This is the second two. Batgirls is finally coming. This is the book that has been teased since Tynion took over Batman. This is the book where Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain, both as official Batgirls, teaming up and doing high school shenanigans, which was strange that they're de-aging them.
Oh, are they?
They're pretty significantly, like 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, man, I'm just happy those characters are back. Like I don't even like, I know they've been like around, but like not like, it's not like they used to be.
Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown really came back in Detective Comics written by James Tynion. Yeah. So like he's always been trying to push those characters back into the forefront because, quite honestly, I understand you want to make Barbara Gordon Batgirl for some reason, but erasing Steph as just spoiler and Cass as Black Bat, like that was a mistake.
Yeah.
It's good to see them finally bringing them back.
That Cassandra Cain original like Batgirl look with like the no face or like whatever, so spooky, so cool. I love it.
Yeah, this is going to be written by Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad, with art by Jorge Corona.
Solid art team. Solid team all around. Hell yeah.
And it's an ongoing, which is great. Look, I love Steph and Cass. This is an instant buy for me. I miss those girls. They're incredible characters.
I didn't think it was an ongoing. That's really exciting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's great that now that Tynion's leaving, they're still like pushing this book out.
Mm-hmm.
Tynion, thank you. Sorry.
Tiny Onion.
Okay, well, that's the Bat family. But Ryan, you don't really like Swamp Thing, right?
Hold on, I got like 45 Swamp Thing comics over here I can show you.
Well, clearly you don't like Swamp Thing, so you don't really care that Jeff Lemire and Doug Mankey are doing a Swamp Thing miniseries called Swamp Thing Green Hell for the Black Label.
What? As long as it's not on Substack.
Right. This is gonna be a 3-issue miniseries, as I said, for the Black Label, and the art looks gorgeous because it's Doug Mankey. Jeff Lemire hasn't written Swamp Thing since his event, Rot World.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
And like, I don't think there's like a big like what the story is yet. So I can only imagine.
I got the whole thing actually, if you want to know.
Can you give me like a little? I don't want like a little bit of it, maybe.
Okay, yeah, this actually goes pretty quickly. This is kind of interesting.
Okay.
The Earth is all but done. The last remnants of humanity cling to a mountaintop island lost in endless flood water. The Parliament of the Green, the Red, and the Rot all agree. It's time to wipe the slate clean and start the cycle of life over again. And to do so, they've united their powers to summon an avatar, one of the most horrific monsters to ever stalk the surface of this forsaken planet. Against a creature like that, there can be no fighting back unless you have a soldier who understands the enemy, someone who has used its tactics before, someone like Alec Holland, of course. It would help if Alec Holland hadn't been dead for decades.
Holy shit. Okay. On Twitter a couple weeks ago, somebody was like, hey, tell me your DC pitch right now. And I swear to God, mine was like Evil Swamp Thing and Alec Holland has to stop him. This is the Swamp Thing comic I would write. I'm not even joking. I had no idea that's what the plot was. I am definitely gonna maybe pick this book up.
Did you read the Future State issues for Swamp Thing?
Oh yeah, it was at Ram V. Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds very similar. Kind of the end of the world Swamp Thing.
Yes, but more sinister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
It's Black Label. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so
Doug Mankey on the big pages.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god, all the Parliaments together. That's so great.
Bat Dick. That showed up for Batman Day again. Remember this?
I remember it. That comic's worth a lot of money.
One Star Squadron is coming from Mark Russell and Steve Lieber. This is going to be a 6-issue miniseries. This is a quick one. Who are you going to call One Star Squadron? Meet DC's superhero team where heroism meets capitalism. This ragtag group of heroes led by Red Tornado is here to provide service with a smile. All you must do is send a request via their on-demand hero app, and they'll answer any call. Whether it's a children's birthday party or an alien invasion, no job is too small or too big.
Bro, Mark Russell is continuing his satirical look at everything superhero related or silly related. Like, he's a guy who wrote Snagglepuss that I did for the book club. He did that Flintstones comic that's all about capitalism. I am so ready to like Red Tornado because, like, honestly, that dude's just like a silly robot man who turns into a tornado. Making them basically like heroes for hire, but it's gonna be about like weird superhero capitalism. 100% into. Steve Lieber, who did Jimmy Olsen, Superman's Best Pal, one of my favorite books. He's the artist for it, and he's really great too. He has great physical comedy in comics. I am tremendously excited for this book. I just love all these comics today. This is good shit.
Oh yeah, you really do. Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer.
Ooh.
By Casey Gilly and Joe Jarrow. It's going to be a 4-issue miniseries. And basically, I'm going to read the last bit, actually. The last sentence. The multiverse explodes as writer Casey Gilly and artist Joe Jarrow bring you a dystopian tale of Buffy Summers as you've never seen her before for fans of Wonder Woman Dead Earth, Batman Last Night on Earth, and Future State Wonder Woman.
Yes, it is Buffy in her 50s. Still doing her thing, being old man Buffy. I'll give it the first issue, baby. Like, that's a character who like recently got like a relaunch, and I thought that looked cool, but I didn't check it out. But like, this is like, okay, old woman Buffy, I'm into it.
This got me excited in the same way that Firefly Next Generation, I don't remember what it's called, but there's a 6-issue miniseries where it's like the next generation of the Firefly crew. And that got me pretty interested in reading those comics. It's just kind of the same thing where it's like, we're no longer doing the movie or the show. We're doing like something new.
We're doing our own thing. Yeah. And it's only 4 issues. So like, that's like not that bad of an investment.
Yeah. These are a couple of quick things, although depending. Marvel Action is the IDW kids line for Marvel Comics. It is being canceled. altogether. Marvel is pulling the license from IDW.
Oh,
Oh.
why do they hate kids so much?
I just think the sales weren't there, but yeah, don't hate
Yeah.
kids, Marvel.
Come on, Marvel.
You kind of need kids to get your sales.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they can still get sales with kids buying their regular line of comics, not through IDW.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I lament it, but I also think it makes a small amount of sense. Just to bring that audience more to the direct market of what they want to sell.
Yeah,
which is
I guess
their comics.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Instead of like using somebody else, like we can just do it ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. It was always kind of weird that they did it anyway.
Mhm.
And then IDW made some big waves when they said they are leaving Diamond Distribution and partnering with Penguin Random House, the same partners who just got into the comic book game with Marvel.
Ooh. Well, guess what?
Okay.
Everyone is just saying "F you, Diamond."
Everyone's leaving Diamond.
I mean, we have no nice things to say about Diamond, really. I mean, Brandon, how long did it take you to get some of your books from them?
I'm still waiting.
I listened to a comic book podcast that's also a store, and they said their first shipment from Penguin or whatever was the nicest shipment they ever got in their life, compared to like the damages they normally get. Like, every huge shipment sometimes have some damages. The lowest amount of damages they've ever had on any books in their life. Where Diamond, it's just like every week it's a crapshoot for them, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, it's cool that people care.
People are getting Marvel comics from Penguin now. Yeah.
I will always remember the day I went to our local comic book store, and there was this really nice Immortal Hulk variant cover. It was completely green. There was no art. It was like one of those covers you take to cons so artists can draw on them.
Yeah.
But it was completely green and blank.
Mhm.
Bent and ripped. Like, not to shreds, but it was like damaged. And I'm looking at it, and I talked to the guy behind the counter. I'm like, what the heck happened? And he just gave me one word answer: Diamond.
Yeah.
That's all he said. I'm like, yeah, I understand.
Right. Look, Ryan and I were just in the comic store a bit ago.
I was just thinking about it.
Going through all the issues and just marking them where they were all screwed up. A whole batch of X-Force he had to send back, and
like an entire
pile of other things. Like the whole shipment of X-Force was ruined.
Yeah. Look, Diamond has needed competition for a while. They've gotten they've gotten sloppy because they were the only game in town, and now they're not. And it sounds like Penguin is doing really well, and so well that some people are speculating that they wouldn't be surprised if DC leaves Lunar to go to Penguin.
Yo, man, if they're the better supplier, like, why not?
Right, because Lunar was kind of the first time where people were like, "Oh, we can do this. We can distribute on our own." But we talked about with Marvel that going to Penguin, that kind of like opened the door. Like, oh, a book retail, like a bookseller, could easily transition into comics.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And also, book retailers, actually give a shit about mailing the products in the correct way to make sure they're safe and they don't get damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So down with Diamond.
Yeah, screw you, Diamond.
Okay. So supposedly the Batman is getting another spin-off, this time with the Penguin as the main character.
Wah, 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 wah.
This is they've apparently talked to Colin Firth about Firth, right?
No.
Farrell.
Damn it. I'll never get it right. Colin Farrell about returning as the Penguin. I don't imagine you do this without him if this is a spinoff of the Batman.
100%, yeah. I just find it interesting that, like, obviously I haven't seen the movie, and but that's the direction they'd want to go. It's like, we want to make the first thing we want to do is this Penguin thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, yes.
I'm ready to watch more of that Colin Farrell weirdness.
No, absolutely, yeah. I am too. I'm just like, it's like the Peacemaker thing. I'm like, interesting direction, but I'm glad you're doing it.
The Emmys showed a little bit about Peacemaker this tonight.
Ooh,
we're not talking about the Emmys.
Is that this year?
Peacemaker? It's right now. It's happening right now.
Is Peacemaker this year?
Yeah, end of this year.
Wow.
Right? Oh, maybe it's January.
That's still soon. Wow.
Yeah. I will look it up.
Cool.
Look at that technology.
Anyway, yeah, Catwoman's right there, guys.
Yeah.
League of
January 2022.
Oh, there you go. League of Super Pets. This is the Daniel Craig. Nope. Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
Crypto movie. Mark Maron has been cast as Lex Luthor.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's cool.
Sure.
When did that TV turn on?
It's been on for a while, buddy.
I have
really?
not. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's been about like 10 minutes, maybe.
I honestly haven't noticed.
Definitely did that on purpose. Somebody in there.
You look so spooked. You're like, what?
The Forever Purge.
Hey guys, Batwheels. Batwheels was in the news. Remember, this is the animated show about the cars.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
Well, also the people, because Ethan Hawke has been cast as Batman. Leia, what?
That guy just went like, he was like, I don't want to do superhero movies. So like now I'm in like 8 superhero things.
Yeah. AJ Hudson has been cast as Duke Thomas as Robin.
Okay.
So the Signal in comic books. And Leia Lewis as Cassandra Cain, Batgirl.
Okay.
Interesting.
Batwheels
with Ethan Hawke.
Y'all, I might pass on this one. Just call me crazy.
I mean, yeah, but I kind of want to hear what Ethan Hawke sounds like as Batman.
I'll go to a YouTube clip.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen YouTube clips of Batman Brave and the Bold. I've watched a lot of that Music Man scene.
That is a good show.
Yeah, I want to watch more. Okay, Batman. More Batman.
Okay, I guess.
So the one podcast is out now. Batman the Audio Adventure. That's the Jeffrey Wright one. The other one, Batman Unburied with Winston Duke as Batman, has cast Hassan Minaj as the Riddler.
Oh, that's
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, that guy getting into audio dramas. That's wild.
Yeah, he's a good voice for the Riddler.
Yeah.
The Tomb Raider anime that's coming to Netflix, the sequel to the first three to the reboot trilogy, has cast its Lara Croft as Hayley Atwell.
Ooh.
She is British, so
She is British.
that does track.
That is a true statement, Ryan. She is British.
Yeah, she'll be good. Sure, yeah.
I mean, she's a good voice actor. It's a little weird that they didn't get the girl from the games.
Yeah, I think maybe they just they want to try to get more people in to get a big name. Yeah,
a bigger name could lure more people in. I like Hayley Atwell a lot, so I'm into this. But it is a little strange having I just recently played those 3 games. They're incredible. Going into this anime, I'm excited, but you could have gotten the original girl. She's there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Let's see. I really want to watch Agent Carter again.
Ooh.
You guys ever seen The Lost Boys?
Yes, no? I love it. Thou shalt not fall.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say this bit then.
Say it.
All right.
Finish it.
It's getting a remake.
Yeah. This one's okay though.
Directed by Jonathan Entwistle, who recently did The End of the Effing World. Written by Randy McKinnon. So far, it has 2 cast members: Noah Jupe, who is the boy from A Quiet Place, and Jaden Martell from It and the recently live-action Rick and Morty shorts.
Yes,
with Christopher Lloyd.
Yes. I like those 2 kids a lot. I think The Lost Boys. It's not one of those movies that I think a lot of people are precious about. Like, oh, don't remake it. It's just a
Richard
really
Donner, right?
Richard. No. Jesus. Shoemaker.
Robert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoemaker, yeah, who did Batman and Robin and stuff. But this is one of his good movies, and it's about teenagers and teenage vampires and the Frog brothers. I don't know who they're going to be playing, but I imagine the kid from A Quiet Place. He has more of a punk rock look, so I imagine he's going to be one of the teen vampires. I like him a lot. He's got a good range. I am excited for this remake. I think this is a franchise that could use a modern interpretation of youth and revolt being vampires and stuff.
So you're thinking we're more looking at a Fright Night remake situation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully,
that's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
And now I want to talk about the ridiculous thing that Christopher Nolan did this week.
The what? What?
I really do hope that the Lost Boys remake is good, because having recently been in a class where we did a deep dissection on why the Lost Boys was made the way that it was, what it was saying, why it was set in the location it was. and the commentary that it was on 80s culture. I'm like, I just really hope that the remake is something doing that and not just, hey, that thing was pretty cool. What if we just made that again? And doesn't put any of that kind of thought behind it. And I worry about it being that level of thoughtless.
Yeah. Have you seen The End of the Effing World?
No.
Okay, I've heard very good things about that, but I can't, I haven't seen it, but like that makes me more excited because it's good directing.
Brandon's got the right comparison, I think, in mind, which is that like I love the Fright Night remake. Fright Night's original film wasn't doing the kind of social commentary and like subtle jabs about what the culture was doing, especially for like classism and where people were forced to live, that The Lost Boys was doing with its original film. And so that's where the remake would make me nervous, because like Fright Night didn't have such a high bar of like what the commentary was about the world to clear that Lost Boys would.
Right. That original has Kiefer Sutherland in it as a young, cool vampire man. It's got Alex Winters from Bill and Ted. He's a cool vampire kid in it. That movie is great. It's got a big saxophone solo guy with a shirt on. Like that movie rules.
Christopher Nolan was in the news this week. He is going to be leaving Warner Brothers after 2 decades of making films with them ever since Insomnia.
Well, listen, Warner Brothers shouldn't have made a pandemic happen. I'm just saying.
That's true. He, we talked about, I'm sure we talked about it on the show and in person, but he's been vocally unhappy with what's happening in your house, Sparks.
I really don't know, and I need to go check it out. Excuse me.
Okay.
His house is
I do want to talk about this, so I'll be right back.
Okay. He's been vocally unhappy about what Warner Brothers is doing with their movies this year, releasing them on HBO Max. Unreasonably, in my opinion, personally.
I agree.
Universal is going to be making his new movie at Universal. This is a movie about J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in developing the atom bomb. Now I want to ask the group, how is he manipulating time in this movie? How do we think? Let's speculate. Let's go.
So I funny enough, I did see people ask us on Twitter. Because it's dealing with the atomic bomb, it could absolutely be dealing with like quantum crazy shit. The way I saw it, like somebody speculated, like this movie, when you lay it out in script form, it's the greatest scientific minds of our era coming together to stop the greatest war that the world's ever known. That sounds like a comic book, right? So like, I'm so ready to see this movie. Oppenheimer is such an incredible figure. Like that is a dude who created the most devastating weapon ever imaginable, right? And his quote of like, I am become death, destroyer of worlds, like lives in my brain forever. Like he's the main character of Manhattan Projects, right? He is a fascinating character. I honestly don't need him to make it big and scientific. The story on its own is so wild and unbelievable that it's a true story. Like if you just tell, he does do weird shit all the time. I know.
So what I'm thinking, I have the idea, because like he did it with Dunkirk, so he's going to do it in this. He always finds ways, not even just narratively like in Tenet, but or Memento, but he always finds ways to play with it. So I'm thinking the beginning of the movie is the end of the movie, and so they go back. So bear with me. So half of the movie is going forward, half of the movie is going backward.
And is the middle the bomb going off?
Yes.
Okay.
And so but that's the end of the movie.
Why are we talking about Tenet?
Because he's like asking what time thing is he going to do in this movie.
Oh, I see.
He does every single movie. Yeah. So this is what he's getting in return for taking this movie to Universal Studios. Universal, go ahead.
It's hard for me to feel like, I think Christopher Nolan's doing this out of like a Warner Brothers did me dirty with Tenet, and I'm like, well, you shouldn't have made it a movie that had to come out when people couldn't go to the theaters, you butt.
Yeah, he was a butt.
He was.
I feel no sympathy for Christopher Nolan feeling like he needed to force people to go to theaters to see his movie when they shouldn't have. Don't feel bad about that at all.
Could have pushed it. His insistence to make that movie come out in July was ridiculous. But here's what Universal is giving him in return. Universal is willing to give him total creative control, 20% off the first dollar gross, so that's the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
A 100 to 130 day exclusive theatrical window, which is more than like every movie that comes out.
That's like 4 months.
Yeah. A blackout period where the studio can't release another movie 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after.
All right, put your dick away, bro.
And that is what Universal, like, to be Christopher Nolan, you walk in a room, I want to give you this movie, and they're just like beating each other off with a stick to try to get this movie.
On one hand, I respect the guy who can get this, because he is one of America's like biggest filmmakers, right? And like, if he thinks he can get away with this and do it, then I get it. And like, he is a dude who respects cinema. Like, I think he respects it in a way that he doesn't actually respect it if he doesn't like people watching movies the way they want to. But like, I get it. And like, if he can make his big old movie and like, you can't release any other movies but when my movie's in theaters, and I'm like, all right, bro, cool. That's the deal he wants to make. Then cool, good on him. I'll see it probably on DVD.
Yeah, I don't. Look, I wish I could walk into a studio and people want to suck my dick that badly. But
he made the Batmans, like, you know, it's got a lot of way.
No, he's one of the few directors who can make the movies that he wants to make. And if he really thinks the total creative control, man, you're not going to hear this movie. This movie is going to be inaudible if he's giving full creative control.
You missed it first, but I kind of went into like, I am really, really excited just for the premise of the movie, like Oppenheimer and this, like the atomic bomb, like the story behind it's immensely fascinating. So like, I am there from the get go. So like, he believes in this movie, so like, I'm gonna be there. I guess Warner Brother movies aren't happening for a month around it though, so take that.
Universal movies,
take that.
I really think he's an incredible filmmaker. I do, but I also think that he gets way too wrapped up in like the cinematic experience as the only proper way to watch movies ever, period, forever. And that obsession has pushed him to this level of like, go see this movie when it's dangerous. And now that you didn't, I'm going to go to another studio where they'll never stop me again. And I just,
it's a little pissy. Yeah.
He's so engrossed in his own bullshit. And I definitely think there's a level where like, because he's a person who still insists on like, you know, IMAX and things like that. And like, I've seen his movies on IMAX and then I see them at home on Blu-ray and I'm like, you know, I didn't lose a lot in the in between, my friend. Like, it's not, your obsession is a little grotesque and dramatic.
He's acting like,
he's not James Cameron.
No. He's also acting like a kid who has this big ambitious project. One parent said no, and then he says, "Fine, I'll go to the other parent, and they're never going to refuse me."
So it's
I mean, I used to do that.
I'm not going to say like Martin Scorsese is on this exact same level, but I think like you brought up James Cameron, and I think that's a good example where James Cameron like very much has his idea of what cinema should look like, and he puts it out there, but he's also not out there limiting like how audiences might perceive what cinema is. He's just saying like, this is what I want to give, and I give that. And Christopher Nolan feels like he needs to absolutely make everyone understand that they're wrong about watching it in any way that isn't his way.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not James Cameron.
Right. No, I know. I'm not saying that you say that. I'm saying like that is the illustrative like comparison where James Cameron is like a director who creates a vision but he leaves you at your disposal to watch that vision as you best see fit. And he doesn't really care about it beyond that point. He created the way he wanted it to be. And Christopher Nolan will create it the way he wants it to be. But he's also like, you have to see it the way I said that it should be seen. And you can't see it any other way, at least not the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Tenet wasn't going to be any more, was he listen to it? You hear it, whatever. You can't hear the damn movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Sure.
You need subtitles. I'm sorry, Christopher Nolan, but you made it so that you need subtitles in that movie.
I gotcha.
I was gonna say I don't think I would enjoy Tenet anymore if I saw it in a movie theater first, besides my laptop.
Yeah, well, at least on the TV, Ben. Come on. What are you, an animal?
I don't think I would enjoy Tenet more in a movie theater or on my TV or wherever else. But I mean, if Nolan Nolan does what Nolan does. He's
I
definitely,
like me some Time Bros.
I don't know. And also to answer your question earlier about how I think he's gonna warp time into it. The bomb is gonna cause a flux, and Oppenheimer's gonna not realize until the middle of the movie. It's like, oh shit, I gotta stop the bomb because it's gonna.
I don't think it's a. I don't think it's a sci-fi thing.
It's not going to be an alternate history.
It's not sci-fi. It's a biopic. So like, I'm just wondering, like, I'm taking like Dunkirk into.
I do like your idea of like the bomb being like the centerpiece, and like the movie starts and ends in different places. But like, maybe just make a traditional movie, Chris. It's all right.
Yeah, but he won't. That's why he went to Universal.
Yeah,
I mean, Dark Knight movies were somewhat traditional.
There's an 8-month time gap in Dark Knight Rises.
I said somewhat.
8 months? I didn't think 8 months.
Yeah, bro. Oh yeah, that sucks. I hate that part of the movie.
Yeah, me too.
I said somewhat.
Anyway, it's not the Batman films he did this to, but if you'll go back to, I haven't seen Insomnia, so I can't say. But from like Memento.
Insomnia is about him living in Alaska where it's always sunny. So like time, like it's not a direct thing, but like he doesn't know what time of day it is and he has insomnia. So like he's tripping. So that's about time.
Every movie, movie that he's like his originals have been dealing, whether in editing or in plot, with time in some way. So I think
where's the time aspect in the Prestige?
The Prestige is not a single narrative. It's going like all over the place with flashbacks and whatnot, and the clones, and you don't know what's going on.
Also, there's two brothers. There's not enough time in the world,
Yeah,
so he has to split up his life because there's enough time.
And Christian Bale plays the twins.
It's in its editing.
Saying.
Yeah, it's see like Memento. It's in the editing. It's not in the plot.
Editing.
You should see Memento.
What's next?
All right, trailers.
Yes, it's time. Yo, remember the last time we were talking about trailers and there are a bunch of like not great trailers?
Oh, I hope that's different today.
No, this week there's a lot of really good trailers.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, how about the Many Saints of Newark had a new trailer? Ryan, did you see it?
Oh shit, dude! This trailer rips so hard. There's a lot of really good trailers that the music is really integral to why the trailer is really good, especially the first two that we're gonna talk about. But like, I am so ready for this movie. I am so excited. I'm probably gonna watch Sopranos after it because it's like it's getting me like I love good mob shit. I haven't watched a good mob thing in a while, but like when it hits good, it like really hits. And like just seeing all the little Sopranos references, like, hey, it's that character, but like 40 years, he's a baby. Look, it's a baby version of him. Like, oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's good.
Dexter: New Blood.
Ooh, this is probably my favorite trailer of the week. I think this is a really, really great trailer. And I just yesterday watched in like an hour and a half long Dexter video essay retrospective because the show's coming out and the trailer came out, whatever. And this trailer is so good, and it looks like really good Dexter. And you know what I realized? The last 2 seasons of Dexter are by Scott Buck. Do you know who Scott Buck was the creative director of? Inhumans and Iron Fist.
Oh my God.
Dexter sucks so bad, and it makes sense because like, oh yeah, he's terrible. This looks like a return to form. I am so excited. I love Dexter. My cat is scratching my back. Ow, stop. Sorry. Ow.
Oh no. Ryan's dying.
It's okay.
No.
Nobody else watched Dexter, right? It was just me?
No. I don't watch
it.
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Cool.
Didn't continue because when I was watching them is when people were like, "Wow, this show ended bad," and I'm like, "All right, I'm out."
Yeah, the first 4 seasons are excellent, and then then the show ended at season 4, and then there's a new season coming out. How cool is that?
The Wheel of Time. It's a couple weeks old now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ben,
we
you
missed it.
Ben, you like fantasy?
On the previous one.
Yeah, I do.
How
Looks
does it feel
good.
about it? Yeah,
It was good. I haven't read the books. I don't know what the books are, but you got some cool fancy looking shit. You got some stuff dealing with time.
Wheel of Time is one of the most prolific, famous fantasy book series after Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a major deal how it would be adapted. It's also importantly one of the series where the author passed away before completing the series. His son, I want to say, is the person who carried on based on his notes to complete the series. It's massive in scope and in story. It's wild that it's being adapted as a show, and Amazon having it kind of creates a sense of what the Lord of the Rings show will be, what they're capable of, and how much they're willing to throw at it. The Wheel of Time show looks really, really good. which I'm really surprised with and pleased with. So Lord of the Rings is probably going to look incredible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, this is like their test. Because like the Lord of the Rings show is like, it's apparently like the most like, not just the most expensive show they made, like it's like the most expensive show of all time. Like, and like there's news that like Howard Shore, is that
Howard Shore.
He might be coming back and I'm like, yo, that's huge. That music is integral to that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, let's do it. I probably skipped this one and just watched Lord of the Rings personally.
Yeah.
I recommend giving it a chance if you have the opportunity. I have not read all the Wheel of Time books, but I am familiar with the concept of the story. There's a lot to like here.
I will say, like, visually, it is giving me like all the things that I want in a fantasy show, but like it's one of those things where like when you see a trailer, it throws so much at you, and I'm like, I just don't know.
Especially a fantasy one, and I'm sure there will be another trailer later that will tell you more of what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
I am happy for Rosamund Pike to have something that might actually be really solid again.
Yeah, I like her a lot. Yeah.
Injustice, the animated movie, had a brief trailer, about 1:13.
Hey man,
Ooh,
looks like that game.
Looks like the opening scene of that game.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Like, I hope they make multiple of these. Like, I hope there is like an Injustice 2 and all that stuff. And I hope like I obviously there's probably going to be like a lot of the comic stuff incorporated within this. But I'm ready to watch that. Like, sure.
Yeah, Tom Taylor even said like they've used his stuff to fill in some of the gaps between where the game starts, which is Superman killing the Joker, and where the game actually like the gameplay part starts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. I really need to play that last game.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Been meaning to, but then I put in Miles Morales. What's wrong with me?
Hey man, a lot of games.
Did anybody here? I gotta ask first. Did anybody here see Bright?
I did.
Yeah, I'm holding up my nub. Yeah,
that's you holding it up here. Yeah. Well, okay. Then I am curious. How does Bright Samurai Soul, the remake, feudal Japan remake anime, look?
Not good.
If I never saw Bright, I still like wouldn't want to watch this because I don't think it looks very good. But it's just a remake of a bad movie, so I really don't want to watch it.
It's just the worst animation. It's all the things I hate about 3D animation.
100% Sparks. Everything that we complain about like the 3D animation in the modern era, especially like on Netflix and stuff, like this is the epitome. This is it, you guys.
Yeah,
the epitome.
That's good. I if I had seen this first, quite honestly, I probably would have been more interested. But knowing this is a remake and such a weird way to do a remake, albeit relatively inventive. Simu Liu is the main character though, so that's kind of cool. Good for him.
Is he?
Yeah, get that work.
I mean,
good that he's getting more.
Not enough to make me watch it. That animation looks like dog shit. It looks like it's a video game and a bad video game at that.
Yeah.
Just the whole time I watched this, I'm like, first of all, we don't have to go back to Bright. Second of all, this looks like crap.
Yo, if you if you go to the comments on the YouTube trailer, a lot of fans of Bright, they're just not on the internet, my guy. They're like,
hey,
does this mean we're getting that sequel that we were promised? 1,000 likes. I'm like,
Max Landis's Star Wars.
Hey, we all have dreams.
That's true. Aquaman, King of Atlantis.
I'm taking my glove off for this one.
This is the new animated show coming to FNP Masks.
God, yeah, it was a quick little tease, but like I love just how like it has like modern comedy sensibilities, but it doesn't look like every other like Rick and Morty type show. It has like a really weird, like almost like a SpongeBob-y like kind of look. I'm like, it's not just because it's underwater, but like something like the jokes and like it zooms in on faces and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the way like the characters' faces morph to fit animation styles. It doesn't. There's no realism within the animation, so to speak.
Absolutely,
it looks very animated.
I was already ready. Like once I saw like the still. But like I love when they try to do something different, and like this definitely spoke to me, and I'm like, oh, this looks so fun.
Yeah, it's much more in the vein of a OKKO animation, and I'm all about it.
Love how he's trying to sit on this throne, the seahorse throne. He's like, is there another throne? No.
No.
Or just like Ocean Master. Boom. It looks very funny.
Oh,
it's gonna be.
It's like an animated trilogy. So is that like short films?
Well, it sounded. Well, initially I thought it was a series, but it sounds like it's like 3, maybe not feature length, but movies.
They have never been clear about exactly what this was going to be.
Yeah,
like 30-minute episodes or something.
I think they're looking at like 45.
Yeah, I want a lot of it, so whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited. Boy, howdy, this one surprised me. I saw a release date for Paranormal Activity 7 is going to Paramount Plus in October, and I was like, didn't we just talk about that last month? Surprise, surprise, there's a trailer.
Yeah, I haven't watched like the last I don't even. You said there's 7 of them now.
This is 7.
I don't think I've seen past 3.
That's fine.
Like, I guess I am not like, I think it's a cool idea that they're moving it away from just being the camcorder thing, but also incorporating that still into it. So like they can tell more of like a narrative story or whatever. But this didn't do a lot for me, to be honest. Like it looks all right.
Yeah, I remember being very excited hearing about this with the director of Freaky and Happy Death Day.
Oh, that's who the director is?
This guy. Well, he's the writer, not the director.
The writer. Okay.
Yeah. So like I was excited because I like him, and he was involved in the early Paranormal Activity film. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. This trailer again just didn't really do a lot. I wonder if it's maybe just a bad trailer or
I think it's a bad teaser.
Yeah.
But I also think that I would probably be more excited if Paranormal Activity hadn't done anything after 3.
Oh, true. Yeah, if we didn't have.
So I stopped at the good point.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not that I think 4 or the spin-off one that became 5 were bad. Yeah. It's not that I thought those were necessarily bad. It's that they were just weaker, and 3 had a clear finale. It closed a loop between the first 2 and that one, and it was like a solid trilogy, and they should have left it alone after that. Yeah. I don't know how the last one goes. I never watched it.
I never watched 6. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah,
I haven't seen past the trailer of 1.
You're so cute.
And I mean, like it. I think less so that the story wasn't good after that. It was that you can only do camcorder shtick for so long in the same setup, but in different ways. Like you got to know the beats of all the Paranormal Activity movies are the same. Mm-hmm. Like around what point in the movie it's going to get actually scary.
Yeah.
You have like the setup, and then you have like the one scare, and then stuff moves in the house, and the end's always like
yeah, exactly. And it'd be cool if this can break away from that.
It looks like it. Like I don't think like the trailer was very good, but it looks like it's breaking away from it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Go ahead.
There's definitely cool ideas in the world that didn't get explored enough in those films because they were limited by the camcorder.
Are there like culty people, like culty monster people in those movies?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
At the end of the third one, you find out that like it was a whole cult of witches that cursed the family and everything.
Man, this was like a decade ago, man.
Yeah, and then we see more of that cult in 4, and then yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch 6 before this comes out. But it looks a little bit like it's trying to do prestige horror stuff, and schlocky horror, Paranormal Activity. Man, though, like Paranormal Activity was such an eye opener for studios. They were just like cheaper movies.
Yeah, they cost like $10,000, and they made like $100 million. Like break.
Earth Echo is pretty good. There's some of the sci-fi ones like Earth Echo and Chronicle are pretty good. Midnight Mass.
Oh, this trailer was so good too.
Yeah.
One of the best uses of a cover. Like sometimes that stuff can get old, but I thought this was a really good one, especially because it was going for dissonance.
It was Keen's "Let Me In," right? Like "Let Me In."
Someplace where, someplace only we know. Yeah. Super,
super haunting. Like a lot of the same, like Haunting of Hill House cast, same director. I like the buzz around this one's real strong, you guys. Like I am super hyped for this one. I didn't know what this really was like about. Like it's like religious stuff, but like this religious guy comes to this like small town and then like kooky shit happens. Like this is like Lovecraft shit. Like I'm so excited. I love the cast. So stoked.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's as good as the haunting film, haunting series, like stoked.
I love this trailer.
Doctor Sleep was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Project Almanac, by the way, is the other found footage film that I think is really good. I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I thought this trailer was exceptional. Really, really loved it.
Definitely got that. It's like, oh, it's a happy come back home. I'm gonna start my life over. Then it gets into creepy shit, and then it goes back to the happy stuff with the super creepy visuals. It's like, the frick am I watching?
It's the guy from Legion, and I haven't seen anything since he was in Legion. He's like the agent in Legion.
Yeah.
Good to see him.
He was also in the new adventures. He was also in the New Adventures of Old Christine.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro's new movie.
What do we say? We don't know what he's making until a trailer comes out.
Yeah, That's so true. I had no idea this was coming.
More Lovecraft shit, man. He's never get to make At the Mountains of Madness because that movie cost $1 billion. Circus weirdness, great cast. Willem Dafoe. Is it a man or a beast?
Another
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
It's the same. It's around the same period as Shape of Water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely looks like
this seems a lot like him doing. Yeah, this seems a lot like Del Toro, much as like Shape of Water would have been his creature from the Black Lagoon. This feels like possibly either his Jekyll and Hyde or like him getting to tell a period piece. Bruce Banner Hulk story. So
yeah, there's a shot with Bradley Cooper has a blindfold on and there's like a symbol painted on, and like that's like weird mysticism shit. I'm like, oh man, I don't even know what's going on in this movie. Like I'm so stoked. And like
Willem Dafoe's narration throughout is already good. Or not good, it's great.
Man, or
it's like the second I saw Guillermo del Toro's name, I'm like, that's not the way he spelled Haunted Mansion, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, where's Pinocchio, Haunted Mansion?
I won't
Where's
let that go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I won't let it go.
Pokemon. What's the show he's doing? Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah.
Pinocchio. He's not directing it. He's co-directing it, and that's going to Netflix. I'm super stoked. When Del Toro said trailer tomorrow, I'm like, for what? What do you got right now?
That's always that again. Like it's always fun. It's so secret.
Yeah, I love it. So stoked. I love Bradley Cooper as an actor. So yeah, bring it on.
This had to be like a pandemic movie, right? Like this, but it looks
to be.
This looks like so like a regular movie.
Yeah. Yeah, all the pandemic movies have like a feel towards them. Like, oh yeah, you definitely did this in a pandemic.
Yeah, like yeah.
Last Night in Soho, the second trailer, probably the final trailer.
I think this trailer is good. I wish I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I did not watch it.
Good. I'm glad you didn't. I think it reveals what the plot of the movie is, and I had no idea, but now I actually know like what everything is going on in the movie, and I know it's gonna reveal a lot more like when I see it. But like, I think this trailer was really good. I think it revealed a little too much for my wear.
You in this trailer, you get why the Jojo Rabbit girl, I forget her name, is seeing the past.
Yeah, it explains everything, and I'm just like, oh, I didn't need it.
I saw Edgar Wright tweet out when he dropped the trailer that he's like, hey, here's the trailer that I have to put out for this movie. If you're already sold, I don't recommend watching it. I think you should just avoid it and go in blind. And I'm like, well, it's you, and I'm sold, so I'm not watching this trailer because Edgar Wright told me not to.
There's only one specific thing about the plot in the modern day that they gave away that I truly wish they didn't, because I think it's integral to the movie. And I'm like, now I know like everything, and I'm like, it's an Edgar Wright movie, so like I wish I didn't know as much going into it now. But like, good trailer for like regular people. Like they needed this trailer because that first one's like, it's like really wacky in a good way.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this one really sold me on the movie.
Yeah,
and that's fine. Like I was already sold, so I didn't
exactly.
Need it, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah. I still really like the look of this movie. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah,
gorgeous. I love it when movies do neon.
There's one shot in this is just so good. Just can't wait to see it in the movie. All right, and then Marvel Marvel dropped a Hawkeye.
It did.
The
Christmas
Hawkeye trailer
time.
dropped.
All the
Ring,
best
ring,
presents
ring.
come with a bow.
Oh my gosh, guys.
A pretty good tagline.
That is a great tagline.
So before we talk about this trailer, Hawkeye in the comics, in my opinion, kind of sucked until Matt Fraction relaunched him as a really comedy-centric character in the early 2010s. Because before that, he was a deaf character, which is great for representation. He was boring as hell. He was a straight white dude who just shot a bow real well. No, I didn't care about him at all. Matt Fraction revitalized that character, and now he's been a comedic delight for the last 8 to 10 years, I would say. Jeremy Renner is not that guy, and they've tried to turn Hawkeye into that character little by little. And now that we are firmly at this is the Hawkeye television show, I am glad Haley Steinfeld is in it.
Yeah, I love Haley Steinfeld. Just says, Maddox says another action holiday special I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really like. Look, it was Christmas. It's a Christmas show, and I'm really stoked for that. I'm actually really excited for this show. I do really like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye.
I'm glad.
He's got a lot of my favorite moments in 3 of the 4 movies he's in. Oh, 5. I didn't count Thor. I won't count Thor.
No, he's in it for a minute.
He's got some of the best moments in Age of Ultron, Civil War, and Endgame. Less so in Endgame, but
I was about to ask what it was in Endgame.
a lot of the stuff with when he's doing the time travel stuff, when he sees his family, I think is really great.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted a specific example,
No. It's just for me, that is not Hawkeye's character whatsoever. That's sad.
The Ronin stuff does get the Ronin stuff does get problematic the more we get away from it. And I'm kind of glad that we're addressing it as a haunting. It's haunting him. And it's moving away from that. I really like Jeremy Renner. I really like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, and I'm really excited for the show.
Sparks, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked to watch it. This looked like it'll be entertaining. I'm hopeful. We'll see. They're all kind of walking a weird line with me right now. So we'll see if this is maybe the Disney Plus show that puts it over.
Yeah. I am just so glad that they are incorporating all the stuff from that comic, the tracksuit mafia. They're called tracksuit Draculas in the comic, and they say "bro" with everything. So bro, I got you, bro. They blow up a van that says rent a bro, so that's very much in there. Kate Bishop's mother is in this. It's I forget the actress's name.
Vera Farmiga?
Vera Farmiga. And her mother is a rich, evil socialite who holds illegal auctions for supervillains, who is run by the Kingpin in this comic. Not saying Kingpin in the show, but what I am saying is, you guys, that episodes 4 and 5 of Hawkeye, Spider-Man comes out, and I'm just saying Daredevil's in that movie, and I'm just saying if Kingpin is in the show, I'm just saying it's a double threat in 1 week, and I'm just saying Marvel could do it. Bring back the Netflix guys. I miss them a lot. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see. Kate Bishop is a great character who I really like from the Young Avengers runs that I've read, and Haley Steinfeld, that was always my pick for that character, so I'm really happy to see her in this, and I think she's got a good dynamic with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. In terms of fan casting, she really is perfect. She gets that character down, and I will absolutely. I forgot. I mentioned I've played Avengers this week, but I played specifically as Kate Bishop, so I can level up Kate Bishop a little bit more. I looked through some of my comics this week, and I've bought every Hawkeye comic for the last 10 years since Fractions run, because then it turned into Jeff Lemire, and then it turned into Kelly Thompson, and then it turned into Matt Rosenberg, and I'm like, bam, these are all great. Hawkeye's good when he's funny.
There's a cool shot where Jeremy Renner catches a Molotov cocktail and throws it back. I like that.
Yeah. I'm very excited for the show. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I liked when his daughter was, because they kind of keep addressing that he has kids. When he's just we haven't spent Christmas in years. It's well, yeah, you disappeared for 5 years.
They couldn't get Linda Cardellini, unfortunately.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's too bad.
That's a shame. That's all right.
Yeah, that does suck. It'll be nice to have a Christmas thing again.
Yeah, in November.
Especially in the MCU.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the heavy Christmas stuff will hit in December.
No, I know, I gotcha.
This Christmas, I thought it was next year, but the Matrix Resurrections, the 4th Matrix film, released its first trailer.
I'm confused.
Guys,
I'm not.
This trailer is so good. Holy shit.
No, the trailer was good, but is this taking place after the third Matrix movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so okay, there's a couple of conflicting theories. One theory look, there's a shot in the movie where they're playing the first Matrix on a
There's multiple shots of the movie where they're playing the
screen.
Matrix.
So like there is a rumor going around that Matrix Resurrections takes place in a world where the Matrix is a movie within the Matrix.
Yes, and I want to hear all of your guys' thoughts before I get into why I'm excited for this movie.
I don't have thoughts. I only have what I've seen on the internet, and I'm just kind of like, I guess so. I'm here for it anyway.
I mean, the trailer.
I've just seen the trailer because it's like where the hell's Morpheus?
Morpheus died. Morpheus died in the Matrix Online video game.
Actually, but he's revealed to be alive at the end of that event. He faked his death.
I don't remember that. I played that game.
There's a lot of fun canon that this movie may incorporate from that game because the Wachowskis worked on that game.
They've worked on all the games except Enter the Path of Neo, which is the bad one. Sparks, I want to hear your thoughts.
They did Path of Neo. They directed Path of Neo.
Oh, well, that one's not good anyway. Then sorry.
Enter the Matrix. I'm pretty sure they were about around. Sparks, sorry, I stepped on your moment.
No, you're all good. I don't really have a lot of strong anything about this. The Matrix is not one of my beloved properties. I like it fine. And so, like this, it looks like a cool movie.
Yeah.
I don't have strong feelings about anything, to be honest. The only thing I have a strong feeling about is knowing Lawrence Fishburne is disappointed he wasn't invited back for the Matrix Resurrections and confused about it. And I do hope that there's not just kind of like weird erasure using Mateen's character.
Well, first, I think we have to see the movie before that. Two, also, the people who made the movie, I think it's their call if they want to bring one of their characters back or not. Go
ahead.
I'll just say, so Ben, you're on. Whoever said about it, the plot of this movie and the rumors might be true now because like every mover in Hollywood, every rumor comes to true these days. That this is basically like a Force Awakens. Yahya Abdul-Mateen is quote unquote the new Morpheus, but he's not Morpheus. He is just the new Morpheus. Jessica, she has the blue hair in this movie. The lady, the blue hair. She's the new quote unquote Trinity. At the end of the Matrix, there's a truce between the machines and the humans, right? You know, the Matrix. Yeah, the Matrix, for people who haven't seen the Matrix, I don't know who hasn't seen the Matrix at this point, but it's a fake world. People are batteries for the machines. We live in a fake world because humans are the best batteries on the planet. So they just make a bunch of humans and they live in a fake world, right? People break out of that world. At the end of the movies, it's all good, right? 20 years pass. So what's the story? Apparently the story is the machines wanted control back. So the Matrix now is... The Matrix is a real movie that exists in the Matrix. And you know the whole thing in the past 20 years, like, oh, we live in a simulation. People who live in the Matrix now, to counter that they actually live in the Matrix, people are like, oh, so you think you live in the movie The Matrix? That's why at the end, that guy is like a movie agent, and he's like, oh, we're going back to the Matrix. Neo, Thomas Anderson, is an actor who was in the original movie, who was an actor who was going through shit. There's so much shit happening in this movie, guys. I'm so excited for it. I know that sounded like a bunch of nonsense. Oh my god.
To be fair, it might not even be true, but it's probable it is.
I've watched so many things about the Matrix. Again, I also watched like an hour and a half video on trans representation in the Matrix and why that movie is so important to science fiction in the 21st century. The Matrix is the most important science fiction movie in the past 21st century, even though it came out in 1999. But you know what I mean. This movie can be a huge cultural shift for blockbusters if done right. It's also the screenwriter of Cloud Atlas. It's like of the book. Sorry, not the guy who wrote the book is writing this movie. That is crazy. This movie is going to be wild. I'm so excited for it. It's not just another like we're just doing it just to do it. I fully believe in it. It is going to tackle nostalgia at its core. Ben, get ready. Because it's going to be about, oh, look, we're reliving in the Matrix. How cool is it that we're in the Matrix again? And like, no, you want to break away from nostalgia. That's the whole point.
Well, funny thing, like Sparks, Matrix isn't one of my beloved movies. I mean,
I I need to specify the original Matrix is.
Yeah.
I'm not as enamored with what came after.
I would love to show you an amazing, and I agree. I don't think the movies are great, but I think with hindsight now, those movies are way better than any of us give them credit for, because we were all looking through them for a very different lens than what the artist who made it intended.
Well, also let me clarify. I do agree that the original Matrix is a masterpiece put to film. It got people thinking. It is a very, very exceptionally made sci-fi movie. The scenes in that movie are so iconic, like the scene where Neo dodges bullets for the first
Ben,
time.
I'm not asking you to be super excited. I'm the only person who's super excited for it.
I am.
I am.
I am.
This is the most. If Dune wasn't coming out, this is the. When I think of big movie blockbusters, like I think of Denis Villeneuve, his quotes recently about like the MCU, and like I love the MCU, but yeah, you know what? I would much rather watch something like Dune or something like this than another MCU movie at the end of the day. And like, I'm glad I'm getting this, because this looks like insane shit. Hell yeah, I'm so excited.
One of the things that I really
big trans director, like this is incredible. Like I'm so excited this franchise is back. You guys have no idea. I'm so thrilled.
It's good. I'm glad you're thrilled.
One of the things I really like about film, in particular, especially like any sort of storytelling medium, is when a director, writer, whoever, creative force puts a lot of passion behind their thing, and they really are passionate about something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's why I like Aquaman. You know, like kind of a small example, but Aquaman has a lot of passion from James Wan. He's really passionate about that film.
Yeah.
And I really respond well to that. And I watched the trailer. I was very excited. I love seeing Matrix iconography again in 21st century lens and whatnot, and then reading what Lana, right?
Yeah.
Lana Wachowski. What Lana Wachowski was talking about, coming back to this movie without, what's the other one name? Sorry, Lily.
Yeah.
Without Lily, because of all the things that came around their life, and like seeing that they're willing to tackle this fourth film with the same amount of passion that they did the first one got me even more excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want you to talk about it too much. Like I could, like I might try to get someone to do a podcast about this, because like this trailer did something for me, much like the new Spider-Man trailer did, where like it wasn't just a nostalgia, but it's like, oh my god, like this thing that I love so much is coming back, but also like this has the hypest moment in trailers of the year for me, when the theme song starts playing with the what's it called, like the pop song, when the Matrix theme starts playing with the pop song at the same time at the end of the trailer. It was the hypest thing I've seen in a trailer in a long time, and it got me. I had so many goosebumps, goose feathers were coming out of my mouth, guys. I was beyond excited the first time I saw this trailer. Because it's, again, like Brandon, it's the thing you brought up, like whether the quality is there or not at the end of the day, like when the movie's out, we'll see, but like the passion is there. Like I don't like Cloud Atlas very much. I think that movie is overly, but it tries. It really tries, and that's why I respect the hell out of it, but I don't think it's very good. That's why I'm excited the person who wrote that book is writing the screenplay, because that means Hollywood is willing to give this person a chance. That means this movie is going to be buck wild.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers also is willing to give Lana Wachowski whatever she wanted, because bringing back the Matrix is big for them.
Yeah, you can't just bring like anybody. Yeah.
So I think that they were willing to give her whatever she needed. There was something specific that I wanted to mention about something. I'm not crazy about the Wachowskis' later films after the Matrix.
Speed Racer.
No, I was about to say, like, I liked up to Speed Racer, and then after that, I didn't like Cloud Atlas, and I didn't like Jupiter's Ascending, whatever that movie's called.
Wasn't Speed Racer the movie they made right after the Matrix?
Like it was great.
Yeah, they made after the Matrix. Yeah.
No, because you said up to Speed Racer. It was like they didn't make another movie after the Matrix besides Speed Racer.
Cloud Atlas.
That's
and
literally
Jupiter
what we've been
Ascending?
saying is Cloud Atlas. They made that.
Yeah, I know they made that.
What are you saying?
Let's move past
Brandon, let's move it. Well, move on.
No, Matrix up to Speed Racer, good movies. What did I not say that?
No, you said
yeah,
that.
because the way you said it implied that there were other movies that they made in between Matrix and Speed Racer when it was Matrix Speed Racer.
No. He was saying everything up to Speed Racer he likes, and everything after Speed Racer he did not.
That's the Matrix sequels, Ben.
Yeah, I know.
Brandon, he's got
confused.
it now. He's got it now. It's
I don't
fine.
think he does.
Yes, he does. He's
The
got it.
Matrix. Directions coming out in December.
All right, we're going to talk about Why the Last Man, the first volume of the comic Unmanned, I believe it's called.
Sparks,
and-
you didn't. Yep, he didn't do this. Okay.
And the first episode of the TV series.
Hell yeah,
So what do we think about this?
Ben, you go first.
So that book is definitely. I mean, the book is good. Dated. I mean, very dated. There's a few choice words in there that I'm like, okay, that doesn't really fly by today's standards, but whatever. I really like how the show kind of shows the people's lives before the event, before the plague hits. You definitely get a feeling for what happens before, especially between Yorick and Beth. Because all you really get is just a phone call with Beth is in Australia already. She has something to tell him, which you already kind of get inkling that she's like, hey, I'm kind of seeing someone else down here. And the second where you actually get to see the proposal and the conversation between the two is like a little more gut-wrenching. And also you get to see a day in the life of his mom, the Representative Brown. You get to see what she's going through, how she's kind of going butting heads with the current Republican president. You can see Nora. I really like it's a classic case of shows expanding what the comic gives you and giving you more what's inside. I really dug the first episode of the show, and also, even though it is dated, I still highly enjoyed the first issue of that comic book.
Yeah, I think
the first trade of the comic book, if I should say.
I think with the benefit of making this a show is that you could a first issue comic can't open this way. Like a first issue comic has to open with a way that keeps you turning the page, and because it's only 20 pages, you don't have a lot of space to do that, so you start just like a little bit before the virus hits.
The first issue has to hook you.
Yeah,
Well,
but the first episode of a show really can just, we can take the time in that first hour to give you more backstory, show you more characters, show you more of a life, because the end of the episode, the play's going to hit anyway, and you're going to be hit. You're going to be okay, but we have more time to explore. I think that's really cool. In a way, I'm glad that every kind of adaptation we've seen as a show does take the opportunity to expand more in the beginning.
Yeah. Question for you guys: did you read the book first and then watch the episode, or watch the episode before you read the book? Because I read the book first, and I have to say, I would definitely recommend, like, if you want to do like what we do, like compare the comic to the show, I would definitely recommend reading the book first before watching the first episode.
I agree. I generally always read the thing because it came out first. Like I read it in order of when it comes out.
Yeah. What about you, Brandon? Did you read the book first, then watch the episode, or reverse it?
I had to watch the episode first. I didn't get a chance to read the comic beforehand. Although normally I would rather do that. Just with Bizarre's schedule. So
yeah, understandable.
Ryan, what did you think about the show? You haven't said much.
I loved the first episode, and I'm going to continue watching the show, and I want to watch it with Sparks because he lives with me, and it just make it easy if we could just watch it together. I didn't really care for the first volume. Yeah. I thought it was fine. I think the premise is cool. There's character stuff I like. Obviously this comic couldn't exist, or the show couldn't exist without the comic. Agent 355 is a revelation. That character is insane. That is one of the hardest, coolest characters I've met in the comic. She makes me want to read the comic more than Yorick, more than Representative Brown, even though I think those characters are fine. It is a comic of its time. Like it came out in 2002 or something.
Yeah, early 2000.
Yeah, it's Brian K. Vaughan's a really great writer. He was young when he wrote this. It's got really just gross problematic stuff. It's not him being offensive. It's him just being young and ignorant, like all of us were at a time.
It's him using the language of the time, which unfortunately I also say I was.
And just into certain gender politics that just have been just expanded upon now. It's just it's not I have the show now. I will never read the book ever again. I got the show, and as far as I'm concerned, I think this is one of the strongest pilots I've watched in a long time. Like I really think all the acting's exceptional. I think the character building so much better than the comic. And I think the execution of like the event of when all the men die, it's horrifying. It's like if you've seen Mark Wahlberg, if you've seen Mark Wahlberg in The Happening, that movie has a really scary suicide scene with a bunch of people too. But like this is exponentially worse because you get to know all of these people, you get to know all of these children and all of these like old men, and like some of them are racist, sure, but a lot of them are nice guys too. And it's like it's an impactful first episode. It's really good.
Like,
I'm really happy with the changes they made to the representative. I'm really happy with that they took that character in the comics doesn't work in a modern day.
I know what they were trying to do. I get what they're trying to do, but like, it just didn't work for me. It really did.
Yeah.
And again, if I was like 20-year-old liberal when that came out, I probably would love it because like, oh, like I get what you're doing, but like that comic came out 20 years ago and just things change, right?
Like the second, like in the okay, one of the lines I didn't have a problem with, but I didn't have a problem with it because the language used, but I definitely felt I was like, okay, I'm not a big fan of them either, but that is really on the nose. Is where it's like, what's going on? Is it the Amazon? Is it another gang? Worse, Republicans. And of course, you got the ladies with guns outside who are saying like, you're taking control of the government. It's like that is, oof.
And it's funny because both the show and the comic are like they're doing the same thing. You know, it's an apocalypse, and like what? How do you deal with the government and all like the humanitarian stuff after the apocalypse when all this stuff happens with Just Women, right? I think the show, only from the first episode, is going to tackle that in so much cooler, stronger, and honestly just like smarter ways. Because like the writing in that comic just feels so like I'm a 21-year-old liberal who knows what he's talking about, and like I know I was that way too, and like in a way I still am. You know, I'm trying to be better about it, but it feels so like. I am so smart. Like it just feels like a comic like written by a really smart person.
I want to push back a little bit on what Ben said because honestly, the Republican wives standing outside the White House seemed a little prescient to me.
Yeah, I mean, because I know this comic book was written in 2002, but seeing that, especially with the events that happened way back in January 6th, it's like, yikes, that happened.
Yeah,
something like that happened. But
I was going to say that's why the Republican line I don't think is one of the more problematic things in the comic because I'm like, well, you know, is it really so dissimilar from today?
Yeah.
Oh, so you read the comic?
Yeah, I read the first volume.
Nice.
Did you get a chance to watch the show?
Yes, I watched the first 2 episodes.
Oh, you actually are further along than that.
Thanks for telling us, I guess.
Well, we were just kind of going. I was waiting for an opening to give Sparks because he came back.
I thought you didn't do it because you walked away for a second. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
No, I stepped away for a moment, but that wasn't because I didn't engage with it.
Sparks. So let's get you into the conversation, man.
I mean, I also think that the comic just doesn't age very well. It shouldn't be written by a man. Frankly, like that's the flaw of it, especially for that moment in time. It just shouldn't have been. It's certainly like well-meaning in a lot of places, but it's so like hold on, because I took pictures of some moments. It's got some really like just unnecessary commentaries and perspectives on women. For example, like when he meets the one who's collecting dead men's bodies, and she talks about how she just gotten a boob job, which is now pointless because what good are tits in this new world?
She's a model,
because she's a model. And then like in the very next page, like she puts a gun on him and he's like, what are you going to do? Rape me?
That makes
it's
me
just so
yeah.
And it's still in that same interaction is like something where she has to like grab his dick and say like, you're a man, but barely. And I'm like, this is all just like really lame, lame female representation.
Going to that scene, because I had problems with that scene because I was reading this. I'm like, Brian K. Vaughan's a good writer, though. This is not good writing.
I guess
come a long way since
this was 20 years ago.
And it's not just him being young. It's also what things were at the time, what things were considered like. I don't think Vaughn today, in the climate of today, writes the same book. This is the way that it could get through. This is the way that it would be translated. This is the way that people use language to describe these kind of things. This was the kind of strong female representation that was happening in comics at the time. This was it.
This is like an award-winning book. I like this is a good book, right? It is an age book, but like that's why the show having a creative team being primarily female like makes it work so much better, I think.
it's a book that I think if you're reading it at the time that it comes out or not too long after, yeah, it's a good book. It is impossible to read it now and separate it from that time gap. We're talking an almost 20-year time gap.
Yeah.
Like we live in an entirely different kind of context of how we view representation of all kinds of different people.
Right.
There's something. How many episodes did you guys watch?
The
I
one.
just watched the first.
Okay, so I watched the second because I didn't feel like not that I'm knocking on you guys what you did, but I didn't feel like the first episode gave me enough to chew on because it's all the setup, not how are they tackling the world after. So I wanted to see what that was like. And a really strong note that I'm happy to report is like in the comic, there's a offhanded comment that the Garbage Girl makes about her partner having been trans. And so was just shot on sight because they look like a man. And it's like, that's our trans representation. There it is. In the second episode, the person who Hiro is at the meeting with is revealed to be trans. And so from female to male. So in the second episode, they're still alive.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And they identify as male. And like, there's a discussion about like the questions they have to answer every single day that they're outside and like them wanting to leave the city because of what's happening and all this stuff. And it's already like a better concept of like incorporating trans representation into the conversation of what's going on in this world.
That's so good to hear, dude. Because I know I was talking to you about like before the show premiered. Like that was like a really worrying thing, and like that's so cool that they're doing that. I love this first episode so much, you guys. I don't have a single problem with it if I'm being honest. Like I just think it's good.
I am interested in seeing where the fact that Hiro killed her lover goes
on the day where every other man also dies. Like she doesn't.
What timing?
She will never have to tell anyone. She will never have to tell anyone, but she will always have that guilt. And like, man, just what a character thing. Because like in the comics, like it's so cool that we're just getting like a little more. Even in the first episode, like I know these characters better than I think I felt then like in that whole.
Oh, there's a horrible line with Hiro when they come out of the ambulance after having sex, and like they're in a fire station, and like the firemen are like gawking at them like, oh, I know what you guys are doing in there, man. Have you worked the way all through the firemen?
Very, very importantly, it's the other women.
Yeah,
not
it's
the other who are talking about her that way, which is even worse.
It's the other two EMTs, whereas Hiro is in what seems to be in those short panels a actual loving relationship with a firefighter. It's not.
But she's implied to be a much different character than the character we meet in the.
Oh, because it's a completely different character than the character we meet in the show. Because in this one, she has a DUI. She has problems, whereas in the show, whereas in the comic book, she was like, she's had a string of bad relationships, but nothing to get her a DUI or drug problems. And then she watches her boyfriend die right in front of her eyes.
Yeah. I was gonna say I didn't want to say the word, but she's implied to be a little bit more slutty in the comic, and that's I didn't jive well with that representation there. There is an interesting bit in this first volume that there are, I think I counted 3 potential ways that they could blame the plague on. I know they probably don't answer it in the comic, but like the amulet or the clone being born, or I thought that was interesting.
That was the one thing. There are a couple things I do like about it. I do like the idea of like this clone baby. That character I found really interesting. It was like, what a crazy thing. Like, was it like her nephew was dying or something, so they were trying to create a clone to get like tissue from this baby or something? I like hard science stuff like that I'm super into. And then like, oh, maybe that's why the apocalypse happened, almost like a Sweet Tooth situation. All that stuff I jived with. It's just mostly like just the 2002-ness of it all that doesn't work for me.
Actually, we're gonna say something. Oh, sorry.
No, just one other thing I quickly liked. I do like that every issue had something where it's like Washington, D.C. 1 hour ago, and then it cuts to the present, or like Washington, D.C. a week from now, or like every issue had a time jump thing. And I don't know if every episode will do that, but I thought that was an interesting, framing device.
Yeah.
No, not so much.
Gotcha.
Every episode, I'd say.
Okay.
No more jumping to the past anyway.
Yeah.
Everything is just moving forward. It seems,
Uh,
at least based on episode 2.
We have to talk about the standout. I personally think of both the show and the comic. It's it Agent 355? Is that what her name is?
Yes.
That opening scene where she's with the drug dealer and she's like kissy with him, and then she leaves in that one shot, and then she blows it up. That's one of the hardest, coolest scenes I've seen in a TV show in a long time. Like the energy that she gives off, and I'm like, oh, this is who this character is. And then she's like part of like the Secret Service and stuff, and I'm like,
the Culper Ring, which is a organization that answers only to the president. They get around red tape.
Yeah, basically like the Kingsman. She has such a presence.
Go ahead.
No, she has such a presence. I love her.
She's great. I really like her too. I think that's a great casting, and I think that character is really interesting. This you guys won't know this because you didn't watch episode 2. I do want to talk about this because I think it's an all right choice, but I'm not sure I agree with it. Which is that in the show, Diane Lane's character of their mom, she becomes the president.
Oh.
Which I'm a little like,
the agriculture lady's gone.
The only reason that bothered me is because something I did like about the comic is that their mom wasn't the head honcho of the government. Because it felt too convenient that Yorick, the last man on Earth, his mom is president. And the fact that the comic didn't go that way, I kind of appreciated that. Like, she was still a responsible member of government, but not the person who will be referred to as the president, and not the person who makes final decisions and has final say. And that is not the way the show translates it. She is immediately the president.
I don't know.
2.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I don't know if I jive with that either.
I don't love that decision because it immediately puts like this. I really like her, the actor and the character for Diane Lane, but it puts her in this position where she has to like, people are judging her for how she allocates resources because she's trying to find out what happened to her kids. And the only reason that she's in that compromised position is because now she's the president. And I'm like, this feels like we could have just left her as the representative and had a different talented female actress playing the president, and her having a relationship with that person who's in power and having to work her way through this stuff.
And I like that idea of like the designated survivor. They're like, oh, you're the 14th in line, but you're the president now. Like, I always think that's charming. That's a shame.
It's the same logic that makes Diane Lane the president. But it's her now, and I just feel like that takes away a little bit of something because it feels awfully convenient in the setup. Whereas in the comic, knowing that the comic originally didn't have it, I think the comic is superior in that decision. I think it's a wise choice to not have the last man on Earth's mom also be the president.
I was kind of, I haven't, like I said earlier, I only saw the first episode. I was kind of hoping that Diane Lane wouldn't become the president, because I also really like that bit about the comic book where it's like the son of a politician, but it's not the one in charge, because it is kind of like I guess in a way it kind of does add an extra layer of drama to the show. It's like, oh, you're the president and your son is the only one alive, which is obviously going to raise suspicions in some circles. But in the book, it's like, we have one male survivor. 2 technically, if you count the monkey, if you count Ampersand.
And I think part of that is because she's the president, and there's already this air of her having been like, and it was kind of there in the first episode if you were paying attention, but it's really present in the second episode of her as an infallible politician. Not an infallible person, but an infallible politician, which the comic is in the opposite direction of, and I'm glad the show didn't do this because I really hated in the comic the way that she's anti-abortion. I'm glad that's not part of her character in the show, but the way that they've made her almost entirely a spotless moral political figure in the eyes of others is a little like, ooh, okay.
That makes sense.
I took a lot of pictures, and it turns out it was just all the shit that I hated. So I'm like, I don't need to talk about it.
Ultimately, I think the show's an improvement.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I actually want to watch the show as opposed to read the comic. Ampersand, 100% CGI monkey. PETA called the show because they were convinced I was a real monkey. and then they're like, "You dummies! That's not even a real monkey. You're stupid." That's so funny.
I think
don't care.
I think the most interesting setup of the show, and rightly so that it's pointed out in the comic when they meet Dr. Man, is not that Yorick survived. It's that Yorick and the male monkey survived.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, what's up there? The fact that it's both of you is a little interesting. How did you guys feel about the show slowly doing the males dying rather than in a instantaneous wave?
I kind of
effective.
Yeah, I kind of felt that it was more. It gave a little bit more of a oomph. Like throughout that show, you saw animals dying. You saw the buck, you saw the rats.
It like started smaller and went big.
Yeah, it started smaller, and then and then the bigger, or okay, maybe not bigger because a buck is definitely bigger than a human, but it started with the animals, and then it finally went to humans, and I definitely felt like as it was kind of like dominoes falling, like when you see the president die. I mean, yeah, I didn't like that character. I didn't like the character of that president, but still, it was harrowing just seeing blood come out of his mouth, him dying, and then all these other men just dropping like flies.
I think the point of the sequence is to up the horror factor when the men start dying en masse. You know, we kind of get a sense of foreboding dread leading up to the ultimate moment. And I think it's actually rather effective for the show, specifically in the show format. As I mentioned, it has more time to do that. I don't think it would work in a comic book. But having that when it finally like hits, that moment is like truly horrifying.
And also, one of the other things I want to say, like credit to all the actors in that scene when they realize, when it finally clicks, like with Diane Lane, that one general, the aides, and they all look around and they realize it's all the men.
Yeah,
all the men are dying.
Sparks, you want to say something?
I agree on all those points except for two specific things. And one is the police force, who doesn't have their police officer on them, with the implication that they have already died. And I'm like, if people are already dying, why aren't they all dying? And that threw me a little because I expected it all to start happening that night. It doesn't happen until the next day. But more importantly to me is that there's kind of an idea that the meeting they're heading into is about all the male animals dying that they've noticed. And the second episode doesn't pay off that. That's part of my thing is like, if this thing was happening the way that we're seeing it happen all over the place, male animals dying first, somebody in the the government is running 24/7. Someone would take notice and have called that meeting, which I assume would be the meeting that they were heading into, but it's not addressed in a backwards way in episode 2 to say that that's what it was, and that they figure out, oh, this was a thing that was coming. That's all. It's minor, but it is something where I go like, I feel like it started happening in such a large numbers. Somebody would say something because we're following political figures.
Well, it happens. They say like, oh, there's like a mass event happening in Israel right now. Like that happens like pre them going to that meeting, and that's when it starts happening.
Right.
Yeah, I think I wanted to mention because we brought up Israel in a way, Sparks. I really like that they took out that bit with the freedom fighter in an indiscriminate foreign country.
The representation of these is essentially filling Islamophobia, because this was 2002, 2003.
Yeah, I'm glad they took that out of the show.
I'm glad they took that out of the show too. I do feel like that line you're referencing, Ryan, was more or less just a kind of nod to the comic of that, not so much acknowledging like, hey, we're noticing that all these male animals are dying, because we're seeing it's happening in the United States too. And I don't think that they're clocking that. It's just a thing where I feel like the show could have, but I agree. I'm glad Islamophobia is not a major focus point of the show.
Time obviously helps, but also again, having a showrunner be a lady. When the whole thing is about women, maybe just have women make it. It just makes sense, right? It just makes sense.
Yeah. It didn't make sense back then, though. Apparently,
no, because we're stupid.
I hope that the Amazons are executed better on the show.
Me too.
Because like it's still going to be like it's still going to be like an apocalyptic thing with like like Republican Mad Max villains. But I hope that they're handled with more care.
It's my biggest thing coming out of the comic, that the show, I don't mind you tackling, I just hope you tackle better.
100%.
I've danced around this, I think, plenty. Yorick like majorly sucks in the comic.
He's a horrible human
I was
being.
so worried about watching the TV show because I did not care about him at all.
Yeah. It hasn't gotten to the point where I think, like, even by the end of episode 2, we haven't gotten to the part where he's like doing the kind of like talking about how important he is to repopulate the earth and everything. And like, there's some good moments in the comic to kind of call him on his shit, mostly from Agent 355, which is like, just because you've got a dick it doesn't mean you're invincible, which is nice, but it doesn't change the fact that York is kind of insufferable to follow.
Yeah.
In a pretty harsh way.
He's got to get to Australia.
I do like the performer much better on the show, especially in the second episode. There's a scene of extraordinary vulnerability from Yorick when he encounters some strangers that is just not who the character is in the comic in a good way. So I hope that continues on that train, because I found Yorick just absolutely impossible to empathize.
Yeah. Early in the show, when he's talking to Hero outside of the NA meeting, like that, like 5 minute scene of them talking, like I enjoyed that more than reading the entire comic. I was just like, I fully understand who these two characters are. In a just short little scene, like I know so much about Hero. Just what's the line that he says? It's like, oh, if you didn't hate yourself so much, and I'm like, bam, like I understand these two characters perfectly now. More than that comic could ever do. I was so worried about York. I find the guy in this like endlessly relatable, and like, yo man, being young and like directionless is hard. Like I get it. And then the apocalypse happens and like destiny thrust it upon you. Like that's like, I'm excited for this show. Like I hope it stays good.
Yeah, I do really like the direction the show went in with Yorick and even Hero. Like, I just think both of them are much better realized characters. In the comic, I wanted to bring up when he proposes it, or at least tries to propose. I just read the room, pal. Like, obviously, this girl doesn't want to be with you anymore.
Yeah.
It's really insufferable.
Yeah, the way they handle it in the show is so much better. Because it's absolutely like, this is a couple who they've been together for a long time, but maybe he likes her more than she likes him. And this is the point where he realizes it. Yeah, because he's ready for marriage and she's not.
He does kind of come at her with like, all I've done for you, but like he calls himself on. She's like, I shouldn't have. That was the wrong thing to say. And I do appreciate that he's got that self awareness. It does make him a lot less insufferable than his comic book character right away.
And it makes me like, I don't know if it's gonna be the same journey because Beth's not in Australia. At least right now. Like I don't know if like how much time has passed. Like if she
took a red eye.
Yeah, she took a red eye. Yeah, so like. I wonder if they're going to do anything with Beth in this show. I assume they have to, because like I think that's integral to the plot of the comic, I'm guessing. But
I will say in episode 2, Yorick is leaving messages for Beth around the city, saying that he's alive and to come home.
Got it. Okay.
Because he's trying to locate her. Now, there is also a concept that's introduced in the same episode about what people are doing in the city to kind of locate one another and find out also where like their loved ones were who were men who passed on, so that they can give proper respects or say goodbyes or check in or whatever. And it's a system that they're trying to build in the city. So it's weird that I understand why Yorick wouldn't go there necessarily, but like not right away. A decent amount of time passes in episode 2 to make me question why Yorick wouldn't at least look into using the resource in some way.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, why Beth wouldn't have considered it.
Yeah.
Because while Beth might not be looking for Yorick, she could easily search out Hero.
That's true.
Now that they're in the same city. So there's a little bit of like, oh, you made some weird things now happening because of where you put Beth in that line and everything. And I'm sure the show will pay it off. It just does leave me with like kind of questions about how they're handling certain choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Episode 2 still shows a decent amount of promise.
That's
Right on.
good. Yeah, hopefully I was going to try to watch the second episode this weekend, but I just didn't get the chance. I started a new job. I don't know who knows that.
I didn't know that.
I started a new job, so it took a lot more time than I anticipated. But
Excellent.
I watched both these episodes with my mom today, and I we finished the first episode. I'm like, I'd really like to do the second because I really want to know how they're handling the world, and it is interesting. There's good stuff there.
Sparks.
And I think
Are we gonna continue to watch this together?
I'd like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to watch this. I feel pretty good about it right now. I think it's much better than the comic and execution up to this point. And I like all the females who get to be main roles in it because all the men die.
Hell yeah.
yeah, I feel very much the same way about Sweet Tooth as I do about this. It's a much different tone. They adapted it in a different way, but it is cool that like it's a good adaptation. In this case, a better adaptation. So I'm excited to continue with it. It's very intriguing.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried about it feeling the need to be too faithful to elements of the comic again. Like the Amazons is something that definitely concerns me because if you're being an adaptation, it doesn't feel like something you can just ignore. Mm-hmm. But you certainly need to alter it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of there was one particularly like terrible, I felt like it kind of accentuated everything line when Yorick catches up with his mom and he's talking about she's telling him how the wives of the Republicans have been, and he says, "Are you serious? After all the men died, I thought all you guys would be holding hands down at the United Nations or something. When the hell did women get so petty and power hungry?" And I'm like, man, this really just like kind of like, I know Yorick's not supposed to be a good person, but you're really just driving.
Isn't there
home
like that's a picture I took too because I hate that because then the mom's like, yeah, but didn't you vote for Hillary Clinton? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so full of a lot of like backward cynicism towards women as it's trying to be like progressively representational that just makes the comic such a drag to read today, which I'm sure it didn't feel like at the time, but it definitely does now. Yeah. I'm bummed, honestly, because I've heard so much good stuff about Y: The Last Man to have read it and been like, oh man, this is something I just can't appreciate anymore. I needed to read it when it was at
it hasn't aged well.
Baby's first feminism book.
Truly.
For Brian K. Vaughan, and it doesn't hold up.
He definitely tried. I'm definitely not going to continue reading the comic. I mean, after I finished the first volume, I'm like, cool, I'm glad I don't have to read that ever again. Mm-hmm. The show, I would like to continue. I don't know if I will, not because it's bad. I think it's really good. I do want to find out what happens. But when I come home, I want to see something a little more cheery and not so down. And it's a really good premise. It's entertaining. It's dramatic. It's the entertainment value for me is there. It's just recently in the past few weeks while I've been coming home at night, I don't want like to experience the crazy shit of half the population literally died in one night. I just want to see like happy ducks going on an adventure.
Yorick in the comic is so single-minded on Beth to a degree where it's like, bro, do you know like the world you live in?
Yeah.
In the show so far, it works a lot. Not to say too much deep into the show, but the everybody is hearing like radio transmissions and things like that about what to do from the president, like giving out emergency broadcasts and things like that. So Yorick knows his mom is president, but he doesn't know how to get to her safely as the last man on Earth. And that keeps him from venturing too far. And then there's stuff that happens in episode 2. But it provides this sense of like, okay, I get why he's kind of like focused on the Beth thing because that's kind of all he can do right now. Yeah. Because he feels trapped in his space. So that's a lot of episode 2 is spent with him like kind of preoccupied on like trying to find her because he can't do much else.
Yeah.
But in the comic, it's like so very much the only thing he seems to care about. And I'm like, this is so ignorant of like everything else that's happening to all these other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anything else we want to add?
Why the last man?
I'm super intrigued by one particular character because she doesn't appear to be anybody in the comic, and she continues to be a focal point into episode 2, and I'm not sure who she's supposed to be, but I'm super interested. Is the president's assistant?
Oh, Nora.
The redhead, yeah.
Yeah, not sure who she's supposed to translate for in the comic. Ultimately, down the road.
Yeah, I remember being surprised that she wasn't in the comic.
Maybe it's one of those things that like it's a character from later on they bring in early or something.
I think they're making her the new version of the leader of the Amazons.
Oh,
maybe. Oh, build her up to see like how she became the way she is. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Based on episode 2, I think that's where they're hinting at going, because I'm not sure she's so focal in episode 2 in a way where I'm like, I'm not sure who you're supposed to be exactly right now.
Yeah.
But I think that might be it.
Right on.
All right, anything else you want to add?
I highly recommend the show. I wish I could recommend the book, but honestly, if you're reading it for the first time today, it just doesn't hold up. I'm sure it's a good book if you read it in 2003.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so no book club. This was our book club. But next week it's my turn.
Diane Lane's great. Also.
Hell yeah, I love Diane.
I didn't really say it by Diane, but Diane Lane is great.
Yeah. Martha Cat. So I was racking my brain for a couple weeks about what to pick. And then I started watching a Doom Patrol thing. So I figured, why not do Doom Patrol Volume 1, Crawling from the Wreckage. This is the first Grant Morrison Doom Patrol volume.
Cool.
I'm interested in seeing where the show came from, because I've never read the Doom Patrol before.
Well, no, you've read a book club that I made you read.
Yeah, it was
unless you skipped it.
The
Gerard Way.
Milkshake Man.
The Milkman Wars.
Milkman Wars. Yeah, that's right. The Doom Patrol, they have a crossover. I've never read any Grant Morrison Doom Patrol. I've read a lot of these characters in other places. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm sorry. What are we reading again?
Doom Patrol.
Just specifically Doom Patrol Volume 1. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was about to say that.
Okay.
Doom Patrol Volume 1
from Grant Morrison.
Crawling from the Wreckage. It's the first 4 issues or 4 or 6 issues. I don't recall.
I was just asking because I'm putting it on our book list.
Yeah. Next week, I don't know what we're talking about. I don't think we know what we're talking about. But Prisoners Ghostland is out. We could do a review of that if we wanted to.
Woo, baby, we'll see.
Okay, so that's it.
That's it.
Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. You can check out other things on our channel, such as Conversation. That's an audio only show that I do where I talk to podcasters about fandom. You can check out the latest episode, Christian Renteria. That was a good one. It's linked below. And my next episode is Travis Alexander from the Kaiju Weekly podcast. Christian's from the Movie Pit podcast. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's where he's from.
Movie Pit.
And of course, if you like this video and you subscribe to this channel, you can check out our other shows such as Victor's Watch. We're currently doing 2 shows. What If? Latest episode is in the description. And Star Trek Lower Decks. The last 2 episodes are in the description. Also Star Trek Day. So those are going to continue. And actually, both of those are going to be continuing because we'll keep doing Star Trek and Marvel shows for things. Meg, as always, take care, stay safe, and catch you later. Always say such nice things before we leave.
Yeah. Good night, Mag. Have a good one, buddy.
You can check out Basement Arcade, new content coming from Basement Arcade soon, and Basement Arcade pause menu. There are 2 episodes in the description, one for the PlayStation 5 showcase, and one with Ali Sayau.
Yep. That's down there, and that's ready for to be watched and listened to.
Is there a new one coming? Do you have one in the bank?
There is a new one coming. I have one in the bank. It's with my Bud's Arcade Attack all the way from England.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Check out Victor Book Club and Animation Station. The latest episode is linked below, where myself and Sparks, talked about Adventure Time, Distant Lands, Obsidian.
Yay.
can check out some masks. We got some masks if you want to support us at Crafted by Z. They make personalized masks for us. We only have a couple left. Check out our Patreon. Patreon linked below, and TeePublic linked below. Patreon's got the exclusive shirt. I'm going to keep it up for another month because of how delayed the Stephen King shirts are. Really, it's fun being betrayed by your family, isn't it?
No.
So, and you can check out TeePublic where there are just shirts, not exclusive shirts, but shirts. And check out our website where you can find all these links and links to our shows at fakenerdpodcast.com. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live stream. And thank you to everyone who watches the rewind. You can find. And thank you to Jeremy Vellucci for our theme musics that you heard tonight and all the theme musics for every single one of our shows. At Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards, you can find his podcast, Suburban Proctologist, on iTunes, and as well as facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official or Instagram at SubProcPodcast. And you can find Mike Matola. Thank you to Mike Matola. He does our logos. He was just on a Fake Nerds Watch. Check that out. That was a lot of fun. You can find him on TikTok and Instagram at Mike Matola.
The best places.
All right. That'll do it. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. And until next time you see us, guys, stay fake nerds.